That's the trick. A net content.
All right. What's happening, squad? Chester, what it do, baby? Kirk, Johnny G, what's happening? Tony, G chill, eat him up. G chill. Wizzo, Patrick, Garvin.
I got a couple of texts yesterday. They just thought it was hilarious. They thought it was so funny when you were describing Jimmy G and his on-field performance.
Me?
It derailed us in the first segment.
I honestly can't remember what I said. I honestly don't remember what
You're talking about, Jimmy G, with the Shanahan offense, and they just couldn't throw balls deep when they.
Yeah. Stick to WrestleMania, big guy. Yeah, it's my bad. Missed on that one. Man. Missed on that one.
Here we go. So there's a delay. Is that usually it's with StreamYard, I think, right?
Oh, I'm good. So it's on your end.
I got a delay, but typically that's with StreamYard.
Just refresh StreamYard. Everything is perfect for me. Just try to refresh the browser real quick.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Yeah, he was completely good on my end.
More flows than young.
All right, how's that?
Say it again.
Caught up? Good? You good?
Yeah.
Check one, check two.
Looks good.
Okay.
I'm a monitor, so it looks good.
Okay.
I saw Mario in here. Eric, DM me on Instagram because I don't know if Mario's on Twitter, but he was asking for the link for the.
Oh, he is. Yeah, Mario's on Twitter.
Okay, either one. Shoot me if you guys haven't clicked on the link that I sent out a couple days ago. I'll send it out again today. But if you're trying to get in the Pick'em League, DM me your email address. Yeah, Mario, DM me your email address, bro. I'm getting them confused. I'm thinking about the college. College, we got to get it going this weekend. We got another week or so.
Let's go, baby. Welcome in here to the first day of September, this Thursday edition of D-Lo and KC. I'm Damian Borling.
Acknowledge me.
He's Kenny Caraway.
Yes, sir.
Acknowledge me.
And we
to this day.
So happy that you are here with us. Twitch.tv/ESPN 1320, YouTube.com/ESPN 1320. Busy show today. Some of your favorites will be with us. Deuce and Mo will be here for their monthly visit. First day of September, we get Deuce and Mo. Olivia returns.
Oh, Maybach.
She took August off. She was in these streets. So she's back with us coming up at 117, Deuce and Mo 147. And then Matt George joins us in the final hour of today's program. A lot to talk about. We got Russell Wilson with a new contract. Not what I thought it would be, to be honest with you. We'll talk about that as the day rolls along. Born in the USA is blaring at 49ers practice, and Jimmy G is taking snaps. We'll talk about that. If that's their hype music, they're losing by 30 at Soldier Field. But we'll start with it. So Serena won the U.S. Open last night.
Man, it certainly felt like it.
It was the world was watching Serena Williams last night, and there was I'm as guilty as everybody. I was hyped. You know me. I don't cheer sporting events. I just chill, watch. I'll react. Oh my goodness. Oh crap. Oh, look at that. I was cheering last night, and I was anxious, and my leg was jumping, and my hand was tapping, and I got up and started pacing after she blew the 40 love game, and she goes on to win, and it's like, man, okay, she gets to play Friday. This wasn't 25. She just gets to play Friday.
And look, it feels like we still got a long way to go to get out of the number rounds. When do they get out of the number rounds? Like, when do they start saying quarterfinal, semifinal, final?
I think we got 2 more.
And
we got Friday. I think we got we got Friday, and then I think Sunday would be quarterfinal. I'll have to double check that. I feel like it's 3 and then 3 more.
Yeah. No, that was electric. I tweeted it out last night, though. And I think it was after forgive me, tennis people, I'm not sure the correct terminology with all this stuff, but when she got to 5 in the last set, and she clinched that and got 5, crowd rose. I think that's when she like really yelled or whatever. They went to commercial or something. I got goosebumps. I was like, this is a moment, man. This is a moment right here. This is a moment we're going to remember. Doesn't mean it's the end, but just this whole tournament with Serena. This is something that we're going to remember forever as sports fans. I really believe that. And we're in the middle of it. We're watching it. You know what I mean? Like we ain't even
close. We ain't even close.
How many more number rounds they got?
That was round 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She just beat the number 2 player on the planet in round 2. She's got round 3 tomorrow. Round 4, hopefully. Round 5, hopefully.
Damn it. She ain't never getting to the final.
Then we got quarters and semis.
So they got 5 rounds and then quarters.
You got to be on point for a month to win this damn thing. The final. The final would be.
No, don't say, because I went there last night. I hate that I'm like this, Damien. I hate that I'm like this. And you know where my mind went? I said, I know there's one match I don't want to see. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And I don't want to see Coco versus Serena. I don't want to see it. You want to talk about WrestleMania, Shawn versus Ric Flair? I love you. I'm sorry. I'm not saying she's guaranteed to win. I just don't even want Coco in that position. That's her idol. And I don't want it. I don't want it. No.
Okay.
I don't want it.
What I was going to say was the final. When would the final be? I thought. Oh man,
my top of my head, I'd say the 17th or the 16th.
No, it has. I think it runs out of space here. I'm confused. It says the semis would be Saturday the 10th. Doesn't have it. Maybe they haven't decided when the finals are. Maybe they're like, well, it depends. Depends on if Serena's there or not.
Right.
If it's Serena, then we'll figure it out. If not, just put it on any day. Doesn't matter.
Right. Put it on at 11 a.m.
So this is what I thought. September 10th was the final, but on ESPN, September 10th is listed as the semifinal. So that's what was a little bit confusing. It only had one bracket. I was like, that's got to be the final if that's the only bracket right there. So I think ESPN missed again and is off in this. But yeah, it was an incredible night. It was cool to see Tiger out there giving the fist pump. Apparently,
glad to see Gladys Knight out
me
there
too.
well.
Yeah, Gladys Knight right there, center court. Gladys Knight.
They were so sure of themselves too.
Oh, Gladys Knight. Where are the pips? That's why representation matters, folks. Yeah. For those who are unaware, that was absolutely not Gladys Knight. That was Dionne Warwick. That's what friends are for. That was not Gladys Knight leaving on a midnight train to Georgia. Oh man.
No, I that was a moment, and this is
super confident.
Another
star, Gladys Knight. No.
They were like, dude, we're so in there. That's how they felt about that one. They nailed it. Not exactly.
Not quite.
But I'm watching last night, and I'm just, I'm getting real nostalgic watching Serena. And even at the end, after she wins, and they do the little montage video that Oprah narrates or whatever, and you see young Serena and all this, and I'm like, bro, we're living through one of, if not the greatest to ever do it. And we've done that, I don't know, in eras and different, it's going to change eventually. But when you talk about Serena, you talk about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, you talk about some of the things we've seen in other sports, Barry Bonds, Usain Bolt. Like, these are the greatest. How like we talk about Jesse Owens, like 70, 80 years later or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's how we're going to talk about what we're seeing right now. Serena Williams, like, it's sick to see, like, sick in a good way. Like, I love seeing this. I don't want it to end. Tiger, thank you, Jazzy 510. How can I forget Tiger? We watch Tiger play. We're watching greatness right in front of us, and this is a moment. This U.S. Open is absolutely a moment. And this is the other thing, Damian, not to bring this whole conversation up, but Serena's a superstar. That is a superstar. The world stopped.
Serena's, there's something above superstar. That's
sure,
what Serena
you want to
is.
say that too, but everything stops.
Yeah.
In Serena's final, Kobe's last game, everything stopped.
She's
Tiger's
one of
golfing. Like, that's
she's one of one.
This is a box office. It's not just how great she is. She has a certain gravitational pull that people, I got to see this. You know what I mean? I can't miss out on this. The extreme FOMO that people have when Serena is playing or Tiger or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a superstar. And she is a supernova is what she is.
A legend. She's an icon. She's one of one in her impact on tennis, on sports, on the Black community, on women who don't weigh 110 pounds, mm-hmm. as women who, as Serena says, got a big ass. Like, she you watch just the dichotomy between those two last night, Anna and Serena, just so very, very different. Mm-hmm. Most tennis players, in multitudes of reasons, look like what is it? Anna? I keep saying Anna. Was it?
Yeah, it's
her first name is Annette. Annette. Her name is Annette. Most tennis players look like her. Frame, pigmentation, like everything. Mm-hmm. No one looks like Serena. Even Coco doesn't look like Serena. Mm-hmm. Serena's different. Venus doesn't look like Serena. Right. Serena is completely different than everyone in her entire sport. And what that must mean for women and Black women, I can't imagine. Mm. Like, I absolutely can't imagine. One of one. Yes. The world was hyped because Serena advanced to like round 3 of 20 right. in the U.S. Open. But secretly everybody knew what we knew. Hey, you might want to tune in tonight. Mm-hmm. It's the number 2 player in the country or number 2 player in the world. And that's what was cool. I thought about last night is the number 2 player in the world played like it.
Oh yeah.
There were points where they both slipped, especially in that middle game. They were where I think Annette double faulted. Serena came back and double faulted. Like, it was a little clunky there for a while. But then you talk about the roar. You talk about the crowd. Mm-hmm. It was no secret. Annette was CM Punk in Chicago. She was John Cena. Yeah, Annette was John Cena in Chicago last night. Like, the crowd was behind Serena, yeah. And it wasn't until that final set where, yeah, I think that crowd got to her a little bit. I think the moment may have gotten, and understandably so, I think the moment may have gotten to it.
Absolutely. After the first set, when Serena won on the tiebreakers and things like that, it looked like Annette came out in the second set. She's like, I've had enough of this. Like, she turned up.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
second set. She was like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm the number 2 player in the world. I've had enough of this.
My
And
confidence level was really low at that point.
and Serena, to her credit, to her greatness, she answered that and did that. But to your point, it seems like there came a point when you saw Ned get frustrated and like this wasn't normally how she plays. It was them lights. Them lights was hitting different. What I talk about Floyd Mayweather in a money fight, Canelo Alvarez, is different than just a pay-per-view fight or a championship round. Tiger Woods on Sunday is different. Them lights, the crowd, Serena brought her into them deep waters. And for that particular night, she couldn't swim.
It's funny, man, because same thing's going to happen Friday. Hey, tune in, probably 4 o'clock. This could be it. Like, we're doing this countdown to the end every single time she plays. And every time she wins, it was loud after Monday. It was monstrous last night because I don't know truly how much people really thought she was going to win. Yeah. And she had really sharpened up from Monday to Tuesday, or excuse me, Monday to Wednesday. And, you know, it's going to be like this again Friday. If Friday goes her way, it's going to be like this every single time she steps on the court until she's eliminated.
I just really hope, much like last night, that Gladys Knight gets to see this firsthand again.
Well, I think Gladys Knight was there, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think they showed.
I wanted to come back. Oh,
both Gladys Knights or one? Do you want both Gladys Knights to be there?
Yes, both.
Or just the one? Okay. We'll come back. As we mentioned, Born in the USA is blaring at San Francisco 49ers practice. And Kenny's pretty fired up.
14.
On the way.
14.
It's on the way. We'll talk 49ers football and more quarterback controversy. Wendilo and KC. Brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog. The smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil, returns here on ESPN 1320. Yeah, MQ, you in the wrong chat, bro. You got to go. We don't call people out names, man. You gone. Sorry, fam. Yeah, we don't do that shit here. You could take that stuff across the street. We don't do that.
Dog.
You're going to be respectful or you're gone.
LeBron.
Nah, he's 1-1. Nah, LeBron's 1-1.
Giannis can't do it like LeBron.
If Giannis is
Gilbert Arenas, but
if Giannis is this in 15 years, sure, we could have that conversation. But right now, like, see that's the thing. Like, I was thinking about this last night. Yo, in consecutive order, we had in overlapping Serena, Candace, and Birdie. Like, that's look at the years on those athletes.
And don't give me. They should have played Tuesday night.
Oh, I know. That was that was a debacle. That I tried to have them. I had the game on the iPad. I wasn't watching it. I saw 10 seconds of it.
I'm just so frustrated by that, because if I'm a schedule maker, now I will give them a little. No, I don't know if I can give them any slack, because I'm thinking of all. They are the main tenant in all those arenas that are still left. So they should have had carte blanche about what dates they wanted. And you just look at the landscape and just say, yo, the only thing I could think of is maybe they wanted Sunday, which make the extra day Thursday to Sunday. Like, yeah, man. Instead of Sunday to Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I'm them, if I'm ESPN, if I'm the WNBA, we knew the U.S. Open was coming. This particular U.S. Open was coming for weeks now. I'm looking at that schedule. When is Serena supposed to be playing?
Mm-hmm.
If it says Monday, Wednesday, cool. I'm going to go Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. That frustrated me because I thought the games yesterday were like, well, the second one was obviously competitive, but the first one, even though it was like a blowout, Candace was
incredible.
These girls are balling, man. Like, I love what I'm seeing from this playoffs. They are balling, and I hate the fact that they had to go against something like that. That frustrates me.
Yeah, Yeah, I tried and just couldn't. I just didn't see it. Like, it was there, but I just didn't see it.
Dr. David with a good
Candace
question.
Candace is putting up ridiculous stat lines
She's killing.
this postseason.
Killing.
Oh, none. That's funny. No, I wasn't drinking. I was. That's right. Yeah. Oh man. Come on, man. Oh man. It's terrible. Just terrible. Damn the chatty house. I was pacing though when Annette came out firing after that crazy end of the first.
Bro, she had enough.
I was like,
I'm done with this.
I'm gonna go make dinner. I'm just pace around. Like yeah, not good. Not good.
I thought she was turning up.
Oh, yeah, you know what it is, man. Shout out to my man Darren the barber if he's listening. You know, it's not just the cut; it's the artwork. He makes me look. He makes me look 10 years younger. That artwork right there.
Mark Wong bringing his knowledge. He's a smart dude. He says normally arenas book out their dates a year in advance. Now you mentioned the only tenant, but the arena schedule can get tricky. I feel like that's only the case, and it can. You're 100% Mark. It might be the only case in Las Vegas or Mandalay Bay. And maybe Connecticut too, I guess. Chicago seems like Chicago has carte blanche over it. Seattle probably does too.
Yeah. We'll talk more about Serena. We want to leave a little meat on that bone because I know Olivia Christian is anxious to talk about Serena last night. Olivia Christian, of course, the host of the game last night. Cap, she'll be with us coming up about 1 hour from right now. Nick Wagner posted a video today. I mentioned Born in the USA is blaring, and Jimmy G's got his practice jersey on, and all is right with the world. Jimmy G is taking snaps as the backup to Trey Lance, but Jimmy G is back out there, and let the quarterback controversy begin, right, Kenny?
No.
Oh.
When you come here to D-Lo and KC on ESPN 1320, we will be perfectly clear what's going on. If something is happening, sure, we'll talk about it. You know, as far as losing games or injury or something like that, we'll talk about it. I can tell you right now, we here on D-Lo and KC are not going to manufacture some crazy scenario and scheme to create a quarterback controversy. We're not doing.
We will not.
We're not.
That is correct. That. We will do no such thing.
And this comes from. This comes from. I was just listening to some things, man. I was listening to some people, and I don't know, man. It just kind of bothered. And Damon, you can tell me. You can tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm not looking at this realistically. Look, man. I work in the business. I know there's content that needs to be created. I get that. I don't disparage anybody for creating their content. But I hear people talking about, Trey Lance goes out there and struggles in the first half. A controversy will be created. If they win a close game in Chicago, that right there is going to create a controversy. I'm sorry. Who's creating this controversy other than you, content creator, radio host, blogger, media member? You're the one creating it. Kyle Shanahan didn't create this. And are you telling me that you won't be able to contain yourself if they win a game 21-17 in week one to say, well, Jimmy, if Jimmy was in there, they don't trust Trey Lance. You can't contain yourself to have common sense to be like, look, they won a game, young dude, they're trying to figure it out. Like the people who are clamoring and saying there's going to be such a controversy are the same people that have the power, so to speak, to create a controversy or not. The influencers.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me, they're telling me, all these people I listen to and the things that I read, that I'm gonna let you know right now, general public, I can't contain myself to have a reasonable thought. I'm gonna have to create something. That's what they're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Am I off base a little bit here? Am I doing too much? Let me know, David.
No. In the sense that you laid out, no, you're not doing too much. That's 100% what this is. Look, we know what this business is about. We make fun of it all of the time. I don't believe half the stuff these dudes say on television anymore, because all they're doing is trying to cut a clip out of their show and put it out on Twitter so it gets liked, retweeted, made fun of, or whatever brings attention to their brand, be it First Take or Skip and Shannon or whatever all these other shows are. That's all this is. Like, I refuse to believe that the people in this industry are that stupid. I believe there are some dumb people in this industry. I don't believe people are that stupid. They're doing it for attention. Jason Whitlock's entire career is based off going at black people and getting attention. That's his gimmick. What's your boy, Skip Bayless? His whole gimmick is LeBron James opens the school for kids. But he didn't meet fire code. I'll tell you why Jordan's the greatest next. His whole gimmick is built off trashing LeBron James. That's what people who lack creativity do. We'll do two things here, because I do think there is a situation where there's a quarterback controversy. But let's do two things here. Let's go back to last year. Kyle Shanahan said Trey Lance is the backup quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is the starter. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback this year, and we're going to transition to him to starter next season. What happened? That's exactly what happened.
Right there.
That's 100% what happened. Jimmy didn't light the world on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy didn't throw for 5,000 plus yards last year. Jimmy didn't throw for 36 touchdowns. He stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he transitioned Trey Lance to be the starter. This year, Trey Lance is the starter. Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup. That's not my designation. That's Kyle Shanahan's designation. He says Trey Lance is the starter. Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup quarterback. What possible reason do we have to not believe him? He literally told us week after week after week. 49ers people asked about Trey Lance. Oh, the teams, what we went up, what was it, 3-5? Mm-hmm. Teams 3-5. Put the kid in, put the rookie in, see what you got. It's a lost season. All those content creators that you're talking about right there did that.
Mm-hmm.
What'd Kyle do? Exactly what he said he was going to do. Jimmy Garoppolo was the starter. Trey Lance was the backup. I have no reason to believe that his plan of Trey Lance being the starter and Jimmy Garoppolo being the backup is not what he's going to do this year.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
There is one and only one place where a quarterback controversy can erupt. And I don't think this question is terribly unfair, but it's a question you can't answer. I can't answer. Nick Wagner can't answer. Kyle Madsen can't answer it. Chris Biederman can't answer it. Why you set the scenarios of struggling play or losses or however you want to lay it out. How do the players react?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only place where how does Kyle Shanahan handle this situation? A true quarterback controversy erupts is if the locker room starts taking sides. Now you'll hear some of those names I just mentioned say, oh, after there's murmurs in the locker room that ...
Mm-hmm.
But we'll never know if any of that's true.
Yeah.
That's the only place, in my opinion, where there's a true quarterback controversy. All of this other stuff is clicks, likes, retweets, downloads, stuff like that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And when you talk about that as well, all the people, and I've heard them, and it sounds ridiculous. Like, it really does sound ridiculous when I hear this stuff. Like, these are people that I don't know them, but they seem just fine as people. They don't seem like Skip Baylesses and Jason Whitlocks and all this other stuff.
No one's a Jason Whitlock.
Ain't nobody.
At least I hope not.
That. But this stuff about there may be a controversy after week 1. What? Like, even in your scenario, what you're talking about, the locker room, who in their right mind
No one
would sit there after week 1 and be like, this just can't, it's not going to happen. We need to get Jimmy in there now. Like, come on. And here's the other thing, Davey. Here's the other thing.
Okay. All right. Hey, woosah.
I'm telling you.
It's only 12:27.
Because Damien, I was there on an island. I was a one-man wolf pack last year with Jimmy Garoppolo. I was there, man. I was there. And I was the one talking about, yo, Jimmy's good, man. Jimmy's a good quarterback. He's cool. Oh, you saw in a chatty house. You heard everybody. Everybody was telling me Jimmy's sorry. He's sorry. After he won in Green Bay, yo, they won in spite of Jimmy. Dallas, he tried to give it away. They won in spite of Jimmy. Everybody was saying that. Now all of a sudden, well, Jimmy Garoppolo may be better. Jimmy Garoppolo may be the best chance to win. You guys just told me how sorry he was a year ago. Stop it. That's why I can't take you seriously. You just got done telling me how sorry Jimmy Garoppolo was for 2 years. And now all of a sudden, well, you know, Jimmy, I put him in there week 1 if Trey struggles. Shut the hell up. Shut up. I don't want to hear you.
You good, baby? Like
you've
been holding on.
Crazy.
Okay. All right.
These people
All right.
are crazy, man. You just got done telling me this for 18 months, how sorry Jimmy was. And now, well, maybe you might want to start him week 1 if they struggle. God, quarterback controversy. Shut the hell up.
No. I'm trying to. It's virtually impossible because of the news of the last few days. But I'm attempting to find articles from last year where people were talking about Trey Lance replacing Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm sorry. You might lose me because now I'm.
Even with all that being said, I still don't think Jimmy's bad. Jimmy's fine. He's a fine quarterback, but we've seen the limitations. We know what time it was. I mean, whether I like him or not, yes, he almost tricked off the game in Dallas to the point where Kyle Shanahan said, let's just run the ball for the last 8 minutes and never let Jimmy pass.
Mm-hmm.
In Green Bay, they had to rely on 2 block field goal kick and a block punt to get the ball in the end zone. 3rd and 7. 3rd and 7. Kyle Shanahan, and like I said, I like Jimmy, but I can't dispute this. 3rd and 7 from like the 40, like the 37-yard line. Kyle Shanahan says, let's try and run for 8 yards with Deebo Samuel, singular. let's try and run for 8 yards. And now everybody's like, no, we got to go. Jimmy's here. There's a controversy. We got to put him in there. Stop, man. Stop. There's not. Like, I'm taking my chance with Trey Lance for a long time in this particular situation. Like, it's not going to be week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 where it's like, oh, I got to look at Jimmy now. We just saw what Jimmy's, and Jimmy's good, but the margin for error with Jimmy Garoppolo is super, super thin. You know what it is.
Okay.
I remember all you people. I just remember you.
Trey Lance is one of the more oddly covered quarterbacks in the NFL. I feel like a lot of quarterbacks get the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know why this is. Some quarterbacks get the benefit of the doubt. Some don't. Mac Jones got a lot of benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's Bill Belichick, which I get that. That's perfectly fine. Why didn't? Because they were doing the same thing with what was they had another kid who they were like, yo, this is
Jimmy Garoppolo.
No, not that one. The one after Jimmy, before they got.
It was the guy from Arkansas, I think it was. Oh man, what was the quarterback?
I think I just saw him in a preseason game the other day. I can't remember what.
Have it.
For sure he will. I can't remember what his name was. That was supposed to be the guy. Oh, they're really high on Stidman. Thank you, Jared Stidman. That's exactly who it was.
He's with the Raiders now.
Jared Stidman.
Yeah.
That's exactly who it was. They were high on that. I maybe, but I feel like why? Yo, this is your boy. It's Kyle Shanahan. Yo, I almost want to go to them guys. You love Kyle Shanahan. Why are you so out on Trey Lance? I don't know, man. I feel he's covered in a very odd way. And we talked about that. I don't know if it has to do with film. I don't know if it has to do, with the lack of playing time over, his college career. I don't know what it is. I just don't think he's covered like other young quarterbacks are.
Yeah, and all that stuff is just what it is. It's whatever. For me personally, like I don't take it any type of way as a 49er fan or somebody that thinks straight. It's fine. People, the cause for concern is real in the respect of we haven't seen him do it before. We haven't even seen him do it at a Division I college. Like I used to always bring up. I mean, there's plenty of the Division I, SEC, ACC, Big Ten quarterbacks who we've seen them play 30, 40 games in college and come in the NFL and stink. All right, that happens every day, B. Okay, we get that. So it's just we won't know anything until we see him routinely in the NFL. And I don't know.
The Cleveland Cavaliers have acquired Donovan Mitchell?
What?
I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? The Cleveland Cavaliers have acquired Donovan Mitchell.
Well, I'll be damned.
What? How, Sway? Woj, where's the rest?
That is major.
Woj, come on, fam. What is this deal? I mean,
wow.
Who are we to call? Is Sexton involved in this deal?
Maybe, even though he's not signed.
Well, but they have the ability to sign him.
Right.
He's a restricted free agent.
Sexton, I don't know if they have any. I mean, I think that. I'm calling for it right now. I mean, we got the phone lines available. I think right now. I need to hear from House Party. I need to hear. I need to hear from them.
JT Godson, where you at? What is this? Wow, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Y'all want to get it? Thank you, Johnny G. Thank you, Johnny G. Y'all want to get on my Cleveland Cavaliers now? I need to know what this deal is, though.
It's different. This is not Karis LeVert starting at the 2. This is different.
I need you to leave Karis LeVert alone.
No, if they keep Karis LeVert and now he's the 6th man, now they cook him with grease.
I need to. Why isn't Woj tweeting quicker? Like, what is the problem right now? How do you just tweet that part and not the rest of it? I need to know what else is happening.
Let's get Woj on the phone.
Jesse, call Adrian Wojnarowski. Thank you.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Jesse said. Jesse brought a view on the stream. Said, "Can you imagine going from Utah to Cleveland? Yikes!"
Yeah. Can you imagine going from you and all you heard was Miami? Like you and New York.
Right. Going back home to New York.
And then all of a sudden it's Cleveland.
Wow.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. And hey, we tell our jokes. That was Woj that got it.
Mm-hmm.
That was Woj that got it.
That's big time. That's big time for Cleveland, because like I said, I know it comes off disparagingly, but people were talking about them for next year. I didn't like the idea of Karis LeVert being your starting 2 guard if you're trying to make a jump in the Eastern Conference that is gotten better. But now, and now we got to see the deal because Woj just stopped tweeting after that.
Apparently just everybody went on holiday break.
Right. But if they were able to keep Karis LeVert in there, who I like as a player, go blue. You already know that's my boy. I'm not going to disparage him. If they were able to keep him,
you're talking awfully crazy about Karis LeVert.
That's my boy. Stop. Okay. That's my boy.
Hold on. Cleveland will send 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps as part of a deal to Utah for Mitchell.
Doesn't sound like any players.
That's all we got right now. Well, that's not possible.
Yeah,
there has to be players involved because of the 30. Because he's got a trade kicker too.
Is it Kevin Love? Maybe Kevin Love.
3-team deal. The Kings are acquiring. No, Kevin Love is coming to finally. It happened.
It happened. Where we at? I'm late. There we go.
It happened. Cleveland will send 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps as part of the deal to Utah. That's where we are right now. We're still waiting. There has to be players involved. I don't know the contract makeup of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But
I think it's my first thought.
Kevin Love is easy,
and they could probably buy him out, and he can go wherever he wants to.
Sacramento.
There you go.
He could come to Sacramento.
There you go. What if Kevin Love went to Brooklyn? I mean, people think he's washed anyway, so I know people will be like, that doesn't matter. But
Brooklyn's the land of the washed.
Brooklyn's the land of the washed.
I'm sorry. Did they sign Blake Griffin? Did they sign LaMarcus Aldridge?
Who was DeAndre was the first one.
DeAndre got signed by somebody, didn't he?
Yeah, I saw him. I saw that.
I feel like he made some money somewhere.
Yeah, he's still somewhere.
Okay. Brian Cruz brings it. Kevin Love to LA incoming if that happens. All right. Yo, there's JT. I just got my let's go text from JT. Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton.
Good call, partner.
Ochi, give me. What's my guy's name?
Oh, Anunoby or not Anunoby?
No.
Okoro. Is it Okoro?
Agabaji. Ochi Agab. I'm not Oki Agabaji. I'm Agbaji.
So the rookie from Kansas.
Collins. I can't pronounce his name, and you're asking me what damn school he went to.
And where the hell are you seeing this?
This is Chris Haynes. Chris Haynes jumped in. Chris Haynes got the.
There we go. I finally get it now.
Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Agabaji. Along with the 3 picks, the 2 pick swaps, headed to Cleveland or headed to Utah.
That's big time, man.
Come on, man.
If I'm Cleveland, I got to make that move.
I don't know. You know what? Me, the godson, we'll get together and we'll decide who can get on our Cleveland Cavaliers bandwagon right now.
Well, I'm just keeping it real. What are you saying, Clueless? I'm keeping it real. All right, that's what I'm doing out here. That's all I'm doing. I like what they did. That was the move. Matter of fact, you don't get on the Cleveland bandwagon because you were disparaging Donovan Mitchell. You didn't think it would do anything for the Knicks.
But I like Cleveland better than I like the Knicks. I like the Cleveland Cavaliers more than I like the Knicks. I'm a big Donovan Mitchell guy. And there's no proof out there on the internet at all that says I question what I only question what Donovan would bring to the Knicks. I don't get it. There's look at here coming in all late. Shams. Oh, Shams. Come on, bro. Like Chris
you're too busy
Haynes.
over there at the Rich Paul offices that you missed out on everything.
Chris Haynes already hit you with the stunner on this one, man. Come on, man. Stop this.
Hit you with this.
Yeah, that's true. Jesse says Shams ain't been the same since the Big 3 report. Cleveland. So the Sexton, Markkanen, Agabaji, 3 first-round picks and 2 pick swaps to the Utah Jazz for Donovan Mitchell. Okay, so boy, we're gonna tear the show format up. We got so
You got
Utah.
lucky, 49ers content creators. I was coming after you. Got lucky.
Utah's done. Like Utah's done. They are out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on, Sacramento.
Got to get in there, man.
Come on, Kings.
Got to get in there.
Utah is out. San Antonio is out.
Mm-hmm. Throw Houston in there.
Houston.
Yeah, they're out.
Houston been out.
I thought you meant not making it this year. Okay.
Yeah,
no. They're
out. They're gone.
I got you.
Hey, Mike, Fox.
Come on now.
Sabonis, Fox, Ox, whatever you. It is right there for you. It is right there for you.
To be honest with you, Damian, and I know we got to get out, but you'll never have a better opportunity than this year. You simply won't. The cards are lined up for you to break this streak, get into the postseason, playoffs, whatever the case may be. You won't have a better opportunity. Has to happen.
Bobby Marks says it's the 20. Well, okay, let's regroup. We'll come back. Don't go anywhere. Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll talk more about what that means for the NBA, what that means for Colin Sexton, 4-year, $72 million contract via sign and trade as part of this deal. Oh, man, there's so much to talk about, and we will. I'm thinking. We'll do it next. No. We'll do it. Yeah. Stay here. We don't need to go to break. Let's just stay here. We probably can't even go to something. Probably crashed in the studio and we can't go to commercial anyways. So we'll just keep riding this out. Colin Sexton is signing a 4-year, $72 million contract via sign and trade to the Utah Jazz. So, Colin, is that that's your Tyrese? To an extent, right? That's like you see if you're the Utah Jazz, you see something in Colin Sexton that you can build around with that's a reasonable deal. Colin Sexton can play.
Yeah, he can play. He's one of those guys that you wonder if he. And I hate saying this, but I understand when people say this when it comes to Colin Sexton. Does he help you win games? He can score. He can play. He's a great talent, but does his production lead to winning games? And that's the question mark with his game right now. But he's super talented. I mean, he was because he didn't play last year. Last time we saw him, he was 21 maybe or something like that. 21. He's young. He can grow into some stuff. So that's a good deal to have him there. And also, I think there's going to be a big fire sale in Utah with the remaining money that's out there. And all right, pay. It's almost like OKC paying Lou Dort we ain't spending no money anyway. Here, Colin, take this money.
Well,
and we can decide in the next year or two if we want to move you or if you're like, okay, this is a foundational piece.
But they also and they're still, Utah plays they're kind of a key component in. Boy, man. I think it was just yesterday that people saw, the two likely destinations for Russell Westbrook were Utah and Indiana if he was traded.
Mm-hmm.
Utah could still happen. Because they could take that contract in and buy him out. Like they have the space to do it.
Yeah, they could take the contract without sending contract, right? Because they have the space.
They should have enough space.
Yeah,
they should. With Rudy being gone, Donovan being gone. I don't know how much. I mean, we could pull it up right now and see how much money went back to them.
Because you would know. I just want to make sure when you have enough cap room, you don't have to send out the same amount or 80% of the contract,
picks.
Right? Okay.
Some picks like who just did it? Draft Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant.
Got you. Yeah. So they could do it, buy him out and keep it moving.
So I'm searching Cleveland Cavaliers contracts on Spot Track, knowing that Spot Track is lightning quick in their updates, and these players may not even be there anymore. So there's go ahead.
I was just gonna say our guy Brendan Nunez breaking down the rest of the Jazz. Mike Conley, 2 years, $46 million. Second year partially guaranteed. Bojan is on an expiring at 19.5. Malik Beasley, 2 years, $22 million. Jordan Clarkson, 2 years, $27.5 million. Rudy Gay, 2 years, $15.5. They could move Clarkson to the Lakers, back to the Lakers in a rush deal.
Okay. That was the rest of the, and you didn't mention the new Utah Jazz in there, right?
No, I didn't mention them.
So that's
what they still have.
16.4 is Markkanen. Agabaji is 3.9. What player? Sexton was the other player. So that's what I say, 16.4 and 3.9. So it's a shade. It's probably a shade under. Maybe it might be right around 21, a shade under 21 million. I can't figure this out if this is expiring or not.
Dudes, man. That's a big deal for Cleveland. We see JT in the chat. He hyped. He's
hyped. Yeah, he should be.
Big time deal for Cleveland.
Oh, Lori. Yeah. So we're headed into the 22. Yeah. Markkanen's got some years. I mean, he's got this year. He's got next year. And so the last year, the 24-25 season is 18, but only 6 is guaranteed. 6 million is guaranteed in that last year. So he gone for 6 million. Like he's going to get that 6 million, but he'll be gone. So I mean, God, how much money did they unload with those 2 contracts? And now how many draft picks do the Utah Jazz have over the course of the next few? Because they don't have Cleveland's 2024. It starts in 2025. Bobby Marks had posted those picks there a second ago. If you give me a second, I'll have those for you. Bobby Marks, he says 2025, 2027, and 2029 first go to the Utah Jazz. The Cleveland Cavaliers owe Indiana a top 14 protected pick in 2023. If you're just tuning in, Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question and just veer off real quick to Sacramento, because my mind's racing right now. Would you put together some kind of real cheap package? I don't know what it is, Trey Lyles, Alex Lynn, or something like that, and try to find a way to fit Jordan Clarkson here in Sacramento? It's a little redundant with Malik Monk there, but I don't know, man. I feel like I would. If it was there, if Utah was like, yeah, give us a Lynn and Lyles or Lynn.
No, you said in Terrence Davis. Like, you've got to trade. Like what's the point of Terrence Davis at this point?
Facts.
I didn't realize you hated Terrence Davis so much. No, that's fine.
That's my boy. That's my boy. You were the one that put him in the deal. I didn't. I said Lynn and Lyles.
Well, but he can't be at this point. What is he going to do?
I love Terrence Davis so much. I just hold on to him here in Sacramento.
Okay, and now
you obviously don't.
He gets the Brian Scalabrine treatment and just sits there at the end of the bench and doesn't get to play. I asked James yesterday whether he thought Terrence Davis could really throw a monkey wrench into the rotation, and he's got Terrence Davis playing 30 seconds. Like, all right, like, man, y'all don't love TD like I love TD. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Or and I don't know. This Carlos brings up, or Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley here.
What about Bogey Part 2? The other. I'm a broadcast journalist. Jesse brought it up too. Like,
I know. I mean, obviously I like him. He can play, but the defense is horrendous for a team that's always worried about defense and talking about everybody, needing to play defense. The defense isn't there. If that's the case, I just hold on to Harrison.
Boy. Potential starting lineup for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen.
Like I said, they were able to keep Karis LeVert. Now they got Karis coming off the bench.
Oh, no, now you a Karis LeVert fan, huh? Okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Karis LeVert fan. Oh, it's all good, though. It's all good. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and Cleveland
Stop disrespecting me, bro. Like, don't do that.
I'm trying to get on the bandwagon.
Cleveland on and popping now with Donovan Mitchell. With my guy, Donovan Mitchell. So, all right, let's go.
Cleveland versus Golden State.
Let's do this exercise. They better, in your opinion, they better than Boston?
No.
Are they better than Milwaukee?
No.
Are they better than Philly?
Nope.
Are they better than Miami? I don't. Say yes.
This is the category I think they're in.
4, 5, 6.
I think they're in that category after Boston. It's so disrespectful. Wasn't Miami the number 1 team in the East last year?
Yeah.
That's just flat out disrespectful. I apologize. Don't
apologize for being right. They're not a top 3 team. They're not. They're like 4 or 5.
I don't think that they are. Like, I'm going to put this Cleveland team in the category of that Miami team.
Yeah, I think they're going to be 4 or 5 right now.
I think Cleveland's better than Toronto now. I don't know if Lonzo Ball's ever playing basketball. You know what the hell seems to be going on with his injury, but I don't know what that Chicago Bulls team is going to look like either. So yeah, I mean, and even if he did play, I don't know that I think Cleveland's better than Chicago. Brooklyn's a question mark. I think Brooklyn, because of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I think they're better. But I think Miami drops down a little bit, and you can put Cleveland, Miami, Toronto probably in that category together.
I think that's your 4, 5, 6 in some form or fashion. It's Cleveland, Miami, Brooklyn, and damn, the play-in's gonna be crazy. Oh my gosh, we got Atlanta, Toronto. Who else? Chicago will probably be in there. The play-in about to be. I'm calling it right now. It might be the best play-in of all time. It's only been 2 or 3. Might be the best play-in of all time.
The greatest play-in tournament ever in its 3-year history.
Yeah, that's gonna be
wow.
The other great thing about it for Cleveland and JT and IO is these guys are all under 26. Obviously, Mobley and Garland are under 25. I think Donovan might be 25 or 26 right now. They're all locked up. You know, you've got 2, I think, well, Garland's extension starts this year. Mobley only in his 2nd year. Donovan is in the 1st year of his 4-year deal, starting this year.
Started last year.
Okay, so he's got 3 years.
I think it
left.
started last. Didn't him and De'Aaron sign the same year?
Yeah.
So De'Aaron's contract, I think, started last year.
Yeah. So you've got that. Jarrett Allen is on a deal. The future is bright in Cleveland.
Fam, they got Luke Walton on the bench.
Well, there you
go.
go.
On now.
Let's bring it on home, Luke. Bring it on home, Luke.
Let's go, Luke.
I'm ready for that Kings Cavs finals.
Hey, who's the coach of the Cavs again?
What's my man's name? Not Silas. He's the staff.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's not the interim coach. He's the real coach. That's right. JB. Yeah, JB's done a hell of a job. I couldn't remember
he got
who
a contract
it was.
extension too. They got him on a contract in the middle of the year.
Man, let's see. So here's the number. Here's the number from Adrian Wojnarowski. Cleveland is sending its 3 unprotected picks to Utah, 25, 27, 29, swaps in 26 and 28, along with the Rudy Gobert trade with Minnesota. Utah has gathered 13 unprotected or lightly protected picks through 2029. So over the next 6 drafts. What year is this? 2022. Yeah, over the next 6 drafts, 13 unprotected or lightly protected picks. Well, there's no question who's calling the shots in Utah.
Right.
There's no question who was calling the shots in Utah. We'll come back. Yes, that's your boy from Kansas, by the way. Agabaji.
Yeah.
Well, you asked me. I can't pronounce his name. You asked me. Oh, that's the dude who scored 10.2 points per game in Kansas, right? No. Phonetically spell his name. What are you talking about? We'll come back.
You see how I just kept doing that instead of actually giving you the name because I couldn't pronounce it. I just, I know Kansas. It's small four. Yeah.
Oh, what's his name in him? Down the street.
No. He was in the in the Final Four. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He played, right? It was a dude who played. Yeah, that guy. We'll come back. Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, which means there are two teams who made the playoffs last year in the Western Conference who absolutely will not even be attempting to make them this year. We will talk about what this deal means from a Kings perspective when D'Lo and Casey return here on Sacramento's #1 sports station. Why did I say that? I haven't said that in 6 months, but it's ESPN 1320 regardless.
Let's go, Karis LeVert.
Oh my gosh, man. So
it's never going to be any easier. Or
we're
more
going to
set
have
up,
to.
I should say. The facts.
We're going to have to call an audible here.
Mayback?
We can't go to what we were going to go to. Let me see what she wants to do.
And Trista's spot. Well, I mean, we're gonna.
I know.
We're gonna squeeze this lemon as much as possible in the next hour. What about 217?
Okay.
What you think about that?
Well, Deuce and Mo will still be with us because they'll be 147 to 230.
Okay, 230.
So we could do 230. We could do 245 because Matt's not till 3:15.
Mm-hmm.
So,
as big as this is and exciting as it is, I think it might be Donovan Mitchell out after Deuce Mo.
I doubt it.
You don't think so?
Look in the upper left-hand corner. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, there's a lot here. This is
tomorrow. You're not losing with that either, though. Tomorrow we got a slot. We got a slot.
It hurt it.
You saying that reminded me of Kevin Durant. Right. But Kevin Durant going to the Warriors. That was 4th of July, so nobody was working. All of a sudden, KD to the Warriors.
Hey, good. By the way, good for Kobe Altman too. There were people calling for Kobe Altman's head, and he's put together a little squad.
Man. That is a big time move, for sure. For sure.
Come on, Monty, go get Kevin Durant. Oh man, she can't do either. Let's see.
Hey, our guy got more excited about this than he ever did for a Kings deal. Got like
Who?
9 tweets. I ain't never seen him tweet this much.
I don't know. I actually don't know who you're talking about. I think I do, so I'm checking. Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Stick to WrestleMania, big guy. Like oh man.
Oh boy.
Sorry, Olivia. Spike Lee somewhere shaking a vending machine. Okay, thank you. Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Achi Agabaiji, and 3 first-round picks, 2 pick swaps. They're headed to Utah. Donovan Mitchell, a member of this Cleveland Cavaliers team, which y'all are welcome aboard. They're a part of my Cleveland Cavaliers team.
Yeah, well, I don't need to do all that. We don't need to do all that. I mean, I acknowledge how good they are now, how good they could potentially be. All right, I acknowledge it, but it's no, I don't need to do all that. No,
it's you know what's interesting though is you look at that lineup potentially, Garland, Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. You got Karis LeVert coming off the bench. You got some good players there. We're talking about JB Bickerstaff. Of course, Luke Walton is there. Kobe Altman has done a tremendous job of putting together this team. Cleveland was a cool story last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey man, okay, all right, Cleveland, get that. You're actually good without LeBron James on the team. This is good stuff. The season went the way that it went, and now it's like because psychologically, this has just got to be very different. They're not under the radar anymore.
Mm-mm.
There were questions about, hey, can they do what they did last year? There were questions about, can they maintain the level that they started at, to start the season? Was it injuries that derailed them? What did you say? Did they play above their head for a bulk of the season? None of that is relevant anymore.
Mm-mm.
Because you just made a big time trade to acquire a big time player, a multi-time all-star, and now it's like it's a played out cliche. So please forgive me, but you're not sneaking up on anybody if you're Cleveland anymore.
Facts, man. I mean, this Cleveland team, there's expectations now, and I don't think they'll fall short of them. Like, they're going to be one of the top teams in the East with this particular roster. Like, they have that amount of talent now, and I like Kobe Altman, like you talk about, kind of going for it. To be honest with you, I think Kobe, Bickerstaff, that group, they might have seen things the same way we saw them with the Cavs, and in the fact of, like, not that it was fool's gold last year, nothing like that, but like, we're not gonna be better than what we were last year with the team that we have.
To be fair, that wasn't we, that was you.
Yeah.
You thought they were. You thought they were over the head.
Yeah,
I was,
but I asked you where they would be. You say
I wasn't
6, 7, around the same place. You said around the same place.
But
So,
did you have them in?
yeah, I said they'd be around 7 or 8. They'd be in the same spot.
Oh, okay.
I said they'd be in the same.
Okay.
A lot of people, JT. We about to. Not with that team. I don't see you guys jumping into the upper echelon. And I feel like the front office may have seen it the same way, and they didn't hesitate to continue to look to get better. They didn't hesitate when this opportunity was presented to them. You know, it's like, look, man, and this is part of the one of the scenarios. Kings weren't in this situation, but where I'm like, man, I don't care about them draft picks and pick swaps. I got a guy that's 24. I got another guy that's like 21. I can acquire somebody that's 25. What I need to add another 19-year-old for? Take the picks. Take the picks. I'm gonna take the proven commodity and Donovan Mitchell, and let's go. So I applaud them for continuing to be aggressive and not rest on their loyals of what happened last year.
They don't rest on anything. Two quick notes. Eagles have claimed Trey Sermon.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So there's that. This Jill Adge brought this to my attention. What's my man? Dana Moore. He covers he podcasts for the Timberwolves.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like Utah now has a team of guys who are far better than their national perception. This roster is currently constructed and prior to tanking, in my opinion, is way better than Houston, Oklahoma City, and Sacramento at the bottom of the West. Stop it. Stop this.
Come on, man.
Apparently, he got a response, probably thanks to Jill's retweet.
He about to get jumped, man.
Clearly, some people, probably people who have studied Sacramento closer than me, disagree on the Sacramento part. Not trying to hate on a team that has struggled. I am from Minnesota and covered the Timberwolves. Translation, Kenny, you nailed it. I got jumped. I got jumped. And I'm trying to clean this up.
Who's this guy? Who is he again?
Oh, his name is Dane Moore. He covers the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Hey, man, we already let it be known to Stat Muse, to a couple other people. Who else did we get into last year? Get into it with?
It's a long list, buddy. I don't know. 98 Rock. I make enemies across the.
Hey, man.
If you're not Kenny or Jesse and you're not in the chatty house, we're probably enemies, and you just
we got into it with Detroit a little bit, and I got we got love for Detroit now.
The funniest part, shout out to our man producer Trevor. He didn't include San Antonio.
Yeah, come on, man.
Like, wait a minute.
Come on, brother.
What are we doing?
Come on, brother. Hey, let it be known. Sacramento, we're not going for it no more. We will jump you respectfully. All right, we'll get into the mentions and be like, "What you say? Excuse me?
Oh yeah,
excuse me."
King's Twitter will come for your neck.
We're not having it no more. We're not having it. Even something like this, where Dane probably thought he was just sending that into oblivion. Like he wasn't even thinking about sack, and all of a sudden, here we come. Jump that boy. He got 25 replies to that one. He got 25 replies, and he came back and was like, "Look, man,
hey, back off." I know I'm all over the place, but I feel like this is noteworthy. Adam Schefter tweeted, Eagles and 49ers discussed a trade for Trey Sermon last week. Instead, the Eagles were able to get good for Trey Sermon. I hope it works out for him. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. This I don't. God, what was his name? I closed the tat. Dane. Hey,
Dane
God
Moore.
bless you, brother. I'm sure you're a great podcast host for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kevin O'Connor tweeted the roster. This is not a good roster. This is absolutely not a good roster, and it is in no way, shape, or form better than Sacramento. I don't think this roster is better than Houston.
No, this roster weak. You got Colin Sexton, who I like, but he's still coming off an ACL injury. We'll see what happens there. Laurie Marketing, who's played well in the Eurobasket, and he played well last year as well, but he's routinely hurt. Then after that, you got like Malik Beasley, Mike Conley, who, yeah, you know what it is. And then Bogdanovic, I mean, that's all you got. You got Rudy Gay, but like that, Jordan Clarkson. You don't have anything there. You don't have anything there.
You got Rudy Gay for now.
Right. You got
Jordan Clarkson for now. Hell, you might even have Bogdanovich for now at this point. We did this already. I'm not going to. He's expiring, right?
Who is?
Bogdanovich is expiring.
They're expiring. Yep, 19.5 million.
He's going to be traded before that. Yeah, I mean it's inconsequential because it falls off their books next year. But yeah, Utah doing Danny Ainge things here. Utah doing Danny Ainge things. So I want to talk about what this means for Sacramento. And what this means for the Kings in the upcoming season. Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll talk more about this. Don't forget, we got Deuce and Mo set to join us coming up in 30 minutes or so. I know they've got a night chat planned for tonight. I'm sure they're really eager to talk about this. So we will coming up in just about 30 minutes. We got Matt George joining us. The final hour of the show. We're attempting to get some things rescheduled with Maybach. Olivia was really hyped to talk about Serena, but we're trying to push that later into the show. But well, she's very popular and very difficult to pin down to a time. But we're going to try to get that done. So let's open up the phone lines. Let's do that. Let's get your reaction to this, and we'll tie the Kings into this conversation. 916-909-1320. We know the calls. We know the phones work. Like Ramsey called yesterday. We know the phones work, so they're open for you. But note that new number, 916-909-1320. We'll talk to you when we come back here. It's Stilo and Casey on ESPN 1320. Oh, good call. Good call.
Man, Clay and Dame. That's tough, though. That's tough. I've never seen this before. This is fascinating. It's cool.
Just trying to figure out how to put the phone on hold. Oh, I didn't realize Jermichael Hasty went to the Jaguars. Are you able to put people on hold now? Did you lose Lisi? Oh. Johnny, do it. Stop it. KC, are you muted? KC. Are you mute? Oh, I think you're back. Can you hear me?
Me or you? Or I mean,
can you hear me, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could hear you. Well, unless you were talking, I couldn't hear you before. I pull up. No, that don't help us.
Hey, Brendan's here. What's up, B? Ain't seen you in a bit.
Hey, yo.
Are they just talking to each other? Wait, do I have to pod them? If you pod them up, are they on at the same time? Oh, I hate this. This is ridiculous. Oh, this will be fun to work out. No, just let's have fun with it. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Tilo, Casey, what's up, guys?
And that low-key is a Bloods and Crips situation. I don't know if they need to be on at the same time. Ramsey be on Leezy's head. Ramsey be on Leezy's head, man. Come on, Ramsey. Let these boys live.
Oh, man.
Did he wait a minute? Did he really say?
No, we'll figure it out together. We are afraid of nothing on this show. Absolutely nothing. You can watch at youtube.com/ESPN1320, twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Obviously, that has major ramifications for the Sacramento Kings, or at least it should have major ramifications for the Sacramento Kings. Might have major ramifications for De'Aaron Fox as well. We'll talk about that. So we have this interesting thing, and I'm going to do my best to explain this to you as quickly as possible. Jesse's in our brand new studio. We're not. We're still at home. Jesse's in this brand new studio. Beautiful. State-of-the-art board, right? The phone lines are actually on the board. It's a big touchscreen the size of maybe like an iPad mini. Tells you, hey, Ramsey's calling. There's Ramsey. Leezy's calling. There's Leezy. What we haven't figured out is how to put one on hold and talk to the other. No way. He's double tapped. We've done held the button down. Nothing to get people on hold. So we're going to bring Ramsey on 916-909-1320. And if I'm not mistaken, Leezy's going to be on too because we can't figure out how to put Leezy on hold. So Ramsey, first of all, Ramsey, what's up, bro?
Isn't it now?
Yep.
Cleveland is literally 8, if not 9 deep. If Ricky Rubio can come back healthy.
Rubio.
No.
Didn't Rubio get traded in the Karis LeVert deal?
I think he did.
Right.
I think he did.
They're at least 8 deep. Yeah, they're at least 8 deep counting. And do you start Okoro or do you start Karis LeVert?
I would start Okoro off the bench.
Yeah.
Even though Okoro can shoot, like I said, he's Robertson 2.0 right now. But I would bring Karis LeVert off the bench for that instant offense comes off the bench.
True, because, I mean, coming off the bench, you got K-Love, you'd have Karis LeVert, and I like the pickup that they made getting Evan Mobley's brother Isaiah. He's going to be nice coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I got Rubio. I got Rubio back with Cleveland. I remember this now. He signed back with Cleveland.
Gotcha.
So he's back. Yeah. All right, good stuff, Ramsey. We appreciate you as always. 916-909-1320. We may have figured out the whole situation, and I think we got HAL here. What's happening, Leezy?
Yo, D-Lo and KC, what's good, guys? Hey, I'm hella happy today. Hey, thank you.
Wow, as opposed to the last time you called, but sure.
Well, yeah. Hey, KC, man, thanks for Trey Sermon. Once again, the rich get richer. My Eagles looking good. But hey, I gotta talk about the Jazz.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Lacey. You're welcome.
Hey, it's all good, brother. Thanks. I had to talk about the Jazz deal, man. Obviously, I think Cavs won the trade. This is a real good win now move. In the East, I think Cavs could really be maybe even top 4 or 5 seed. They're looking pretty good right now. I think the Knicks really played themselves. They kind of was sitting around waiting for this whole Mitchell deal, Donovan Mitchell, and they just coming up kind of short. They got Brunson. I don't know what the Knicks are doing, but definitely think this is great. And for the Kings, hey, you guys said it best. No excuses this year. Right now, it's looking like the Kings could sneak in there. I'm really liking the roster and the moves made. So overall, I think it's a good move for everybody except the Knicks.
The rich get richer.
You know, there's.
Outta
I
here.
think it was. Forgive me if I don't say her name. Mina Kumes.
Mina Kimes.
Mina Kimes.
Mina Kimes.
She tweeted out over the weekend. She's like, roster. The Eagles are loaded. Top 5, top 3 roster in the game. I was like,
Wow.
the Eagles. I like. They're good. They're good. I don't think they have a top 3 or 5 roster in the league. Like that's. They're gonna have to show me that.
Their front office doesn't even like their quarterback.
Like the quarterback is the problem right now. Like as far as like a question mark. I don't know if Jalen's got it. They said he's looked better in training camp, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, top what? Hell no. They got a top 3 or 5 roster in the game.
Yeah, I don't think they do, but this Cleveland Cavaliers team has a pretty good roster. They were 44-38 last year. I mean, we're talking, we're trying to put them in are they the top 5, 5, 6, 7. We laid out, the Torontos and the Brooklyns and all that right there. That's an improvement of 4 games. That's all they're looking at is an improvement of 4 games. I think the main thing with Cleveland that we've talked about regularly well before today's trade is what exactly were they going to be? Like where what were they going to be coming into this year? Were they going to be closer to the team we saw at the beginning of the season or closer to the team we saw at the end of the season? But as we shift to the Western Conference and we look at the Utah Jazz and you realize Utah's out of it. Utah was 49-33 last year. They ain't trying to win nothing. And you talk about teams you talk about a race to the bottom. You talk about a race to the bottom 4 and having a chance to get that number 1 overall pick. You've got Utah in this conversation. They're not looking for a long rebuild. We talked about Danny Ainge before and the way he was able to rebuild the Boston Celtics. I'm sure in his head, he believes I could do it again. Took me a year. Got a good young coach. Guess what I got here in Utah? A good young coach. Replaced an established coach that everybody liked. 1 down year. I'm going to hit on my draft picks, and we're going to be right back to where we were supposed to be or where we're supposed to be in the next year, 2 years, or whatever the case may be. San Antonio. This is a team that went to the playoffs, finished above 500, had all of these, insane records that were decades long. They were a 34-win play-in team last year. They're not looking for a long rebuild. This year is part of their rebuild, but they're not looking for a long rebuild. You've got 2 teams out of the gate in the top 10 that are out. Absolutely no excuse for Sacramento to not be, at the very worst, a play-in team next year.
I agree 100%. I want to ask you a question. Just asking a question. I'm going to tell you already, it's a no for me, dog. I'm not doing it. But Adrian Wojnarowski tweets out again, Utah still has coveted veteran trade assets, including Bojan Bogdanovic, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley Jr. They'll approach an OKC-esque haul of draft assets once they're done dealing. Jazz consider marketing Sexton, Agbaji keepers for their rebuilding roster. So to me, that says Bojan, Clarkson, Conley probably out.
Mm-hmm.
Would you move
available?
Available. Would you move Harrison in some kind of second rounder or something for Bojan?
No,
I wouldn't either. I'm just asking the questions.
Nope, absolutely not.
I'm just asking.
The Bojan situation is no different than Harrison.
Right.
If you
talk about shooting and all that other stuff,
I'm good.
It's not. Yeah, I don't have any interest in that.
I'm good. No, it's going to be really, really difficult for anyone to sway me on trading Harrison Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think there's a player that you can say, hey, realistically, I really don't think there's a player that you can name where I'm like, oh, okay, you've got my attention. I mean, even I think Jordan Clarkson's Jordan Clarkson's a really good basketball player, mm-hmm. But this, Jordan Clarkson on the Kings now is different than Jordan Clarkson on the Kings before free agency started.
Right.
It was my argument with Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell on the New York Knicks. You probably wouldn't have done that. Like had you have known, you wouldn't have done it. And so Malik Monk is here. Kevin Huerter is here. We believe Kevin Huerter is probably going to play out of that 2 position, off of that 2 position a little bit more and there into the 3. But as good as I think Jordan Clarkson is, I don't think it works.
No,
Bojan doesn't make sense. Mike Conley, no. I mean, I endless amounts of respect for Mike Conley. He, unless you're
either though.
But yeah, unless you're perfectly just cutting Delly, cutting Quinn Cook, anyone past Donovan Mitchell on the depth chart and bringing Mike Conley in and saying, "Hey, be the old guy in our quarterback room and help this group out." It doesn't make sense either. And I think Mike Conley's got a couple bucks left.
Yeah, I what was it? I saw it earlier. I think it's 20-something million over 2 years or something like that. So yeah, I'm not. I don't want to say like the Kings.
I overdid that a little bit.
46 million. Jeez.
Well, not exactly. It's 22.6. The 24 next year is partially guaranteed, but the partial guarantee is still 14 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, man.
It's maybe not 46, but it still is definitely 36.
Right. No, that's a lot of money for Mike Conley if you don't have any intentions on him being at the very least a backup point guard. And I don't think the Kings would. I'm looking at the Kings and I'm hesitating saying this because you can always look to get better. But for what they're trying to prepare for this year, if it's not a colossal move, I think it's about done. Like I think it's about time to move forward with the roster that you have and see what you can get with this. Maybe by the time you get to the trade deadline, you see, maybe we need a backup to 4 or something like that. You look to make a move like that. But I mean, outside of somebody like a Donovan Mitchell, a Kevin Durant, a star like that, you got guys on that same level already in place. Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, you got those guys already there. So why would you trade for a Bogdanovich or a Clarkson-like player? You already got those guys. Yeah. I think the roster's about done unless you're getting an all-star, like an all-star player.
I agree. I'm trying to think of so prior to Durant, and I do want to mention again, Donovan Mitchell, to the best of our knowledge, has never asked for a trade. Utah just traded him. And there was, I think it was Quinn Snyder stepping down. There was the Donovan Mitchell is concerned about the direction of the team or something along those lines were the initial tweets after Quinn Snyder stepped away. But he never asked for a trade. But there is another name who around draft time who was just mentioned nonstop. And unless I'm forgetting, John Collins hasn't been traded.
No.
So with Donovan gone, Kevin Durant not going anywhere, does the focus of the NBA insiders now shift back to John Collins? Or is it just like, dude, Donovan Mitchell was just traded. We don't really care what happens with John Collins.
I mean, I don't think it's that. I'm just thinking like, and obviously we saw this came out of nowhere. Cleveland was on nobody's radar as far as I could see with this Donovan Mitchell thing. But I don't know what's John Collins gonna. Where's he gonna go? Who's looking for John Collins? Who's looking to add in that respect? And also, it seems like, and these things, could just be all for the gram or whatever the case may be. But it seemed like John might have been rejuvenated with the addition of DeJounte Murray, playing in Seattle and playing in the Pro-Am together with him and Trae Young. Seems like things are good. And I know that's not the front office and ownership. They got a different perspective than DeJounte and Trae do. But I mean, I don't really see why Atlanta would trade John Collins at this point. For what? You made your move and you got DeJounte. I would trade Bogey before I trade John Collins if you needed something.
Yeah, I would absolutely trade Bogey if I was Atlanta. 100%, I would trade him. All eyes are likely to shift back to Los Angeles if we're being like honest about this, because from a Sacramento perspective, and I'm curious, we'll ask the chat, and we'll ask anyone out there who wants to jump in on the phone lines or respond on at D'Lo and KC on Twitter, or at ESPN 1320. 916-909-1320 is the phone number. Are you good with the Kings roster as it is? Because it was Monty McNair again. I think he tried to clear this up a little bit, but he just tried to walk this back like almost immediately after he said it. We're not done. And the Kings aren't done. The Kings aren't done. Well, Monty told us the Kings aren't done. All outward appearances of the Kings are done. Are you good with the roster as it is? Because I think a lot of us, you and I think we're fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are not. The Lakers are not fine with where their roster is at. No matter what Jeannie Buss is telling Sam Amick, no matter what public perception they're trying to put on, they're not fine. They've got to be on the phone. I don't know that the Kings have to be on the phone.
I don't know if they have to be on the phone either. You're always looking to improve the team. I believe in that. And you're always looking for different moves that you can make. But let's just go down. Let's go down the list. Like I said, you're not making. Maybe you're making a move for a Bojan, Jordan Clarkson. Maybe, but you're not pressed. Let's go down the starting lineup. You're looking for an upgrade over Sabonis? No. That's your starting center. You're looking for an upgrade over Keegan Murray? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. That's a maybe. You're looking for an upgrade over Harrison Barnes? Maybe, but that's not Bojan or Clarkson. Once again, we're talking about an all-star caliber player. You're looking for an upgrade over Herter? Probably not unless it's an all-star. Kevin Herter was a starting two guard in this league for a winning team. You're looking for an upgrade over Fox? No. So, and the moves that you'd be making are the Bojan, Jordan Clarkson type moves, the bench player type roles. All right, like if somebody's out there that works in that respect, cool, but you're not, scouring you're not calling every GM left and right trying to make that move. I think you're about good with what you have right now.
916-909-1320. Let's get Garrett on here. Garrett, what's happening, man?
What's up, Damian? How you been?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good, man. I used to listen to you back at the KHTK days.
We call it the bad guys. That's the bad guys down there. Yep.
Right there with you. That's why I'm on 1320 now.
Yeah, man.
And I just got to say, I've been a Kings fan my whole life. Like, I'm 35 years old. I remember the good days with Jay Will, Weber, the good days.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think, and this might just be me, I think Darren Fox is a little overrated. He gives up so many turnovers. It's just, man, it kills me. I personally think Davion Mitchell should be their starting point guard. Get rid of Fox. See what this talent can do with Davion there. I don't know. I'll take your answer off there, but appreciate it, man. I'm glad to hear you.
Appreciate you, Garrett. Thank you, brother. No, I like Donovan. I mean, I like Davion Mitchell a lot. De'Aaron, I understand the concerns. De'Aaron's a really good ball player, man.
He is.
I feel like we're caught up, and I guess this is just kind of the nature of sports. We get caught up in contracts and how much players make, and the level of hype that whether it's a organization or a fan base puts on somebody. And I feel like, it's almost like if you take Harrison Barnes' name out of we're talking Harrison Barnes, what can you do that's better than Harrison Barnes? Who can you go get that improves your team right now? Realistically, it's better than Harrison Barnes. And you think about Harrison and the ups and downs, and admittedly, I'm a Harrison Barnes guy. How many did he have? He had 6 last night. Oh, those moments where he disappears. Okay, now multiply that to where it's like 26-7. And then tell me how your team is going to get better by trading him.
Mm-hmm.
He's not part. If Garrett and if the rest of the people who aren't fond of De'Aaron, this is your window. You've kind of just got to chill for a minute. Your window opens wide. It ain't even a win. It's like it's a golden 1 center size door that opens up to the outside. If De'Aaron fails this year, if the Sacramento Kings fail this year, you've got carte blanche to say what you want to about De'Aaron Fox. I think we've got to be fair to his career. I think we've got to be fair. We've got to have context to the entire De'Aaron Fox story. Mm-hmm. And the biggest part of the most important part of that context is that the Kings stink. The organization stinks. The front office stinks. Everything about this organization stunk up until recently, where I believe they have genuinely, on all aspects of their businesses, tried to improve. I believe it's of universal agreement. This is a good team that the Kings have, and it's the best by far that De'Aaron Fox has ever played with. We talk about the Kings not having any excuses. De'Aaron Fox has no excuses. Not that he's made them. Supporters of De'Aaron Fox, we've got no excuses. He has to perform this year. And if he doesn't, there's going to be a lot of Garretts on line 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when things go bad, if things go bad.
So the thing that I want to know that, like, because I think people just kind of throw things out there sometimes, right? So Garrett called in and said what he said. Our guy in the chat, NBA Young Kobe, he says De'Aaron is very overrated by SAC media, slightly underrated on a national level. He said Garrett was right earlier. He said his handle was suspect. I'm not sure if your eyes are working correctly. We may need to get the glasses for you, Young Kobe, because if anything, that may be one of the stronger points of his game is the way he handles the rock. But when you say overrated, what do you mean by overrated? Because last I checked, nobody's calling him an all-star. Nobody's calling him a franchise player. So, what do you mean? The fact that we think he's good is overrating him? So you're saying he's not good, essentially, because that's all we really say is, yo, he's a good ball player. You just mentioned he's got a lot to prove. We've mentioned here a number of times. If it doesn't happen this year, it's time to move on, probably. So to me, when you talk about Fox is overrated, that would be somebody saying, you know, I was going to say something, but I'm going to leave that alone. I ain't even going that route. I ain't going down that road. Maybe I'll do it during the commercial break. I'll explain to you what I was saying. But when you talk about overrated, that's if the media in the city was like, yo, De'Aaron Fox doesn't have anything to prove. He's an all-star right now. He's one of the great point guards in the game today. Yeah, that's overrated. I don't think you can find anybody that's saying that right there. Everybody is looking at him like, yo, we like his game. We like what he can bring to the table, but we need to see something. We need to see it manifest into wins this year. And if not, he may not be the guy. So when you talk about overrated, I feel like that's something that's just kind of thrown out there because I honestly don't think anybody is overrating De'Aaron Fox. If they're doing anything with him, they're underrating him. Nobody's overrating De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I think when people use terms like Sacramento media, like it's kind of a default mechanism for it. They're not saying what I want them to say. You guys aren't keeping it real. No, I'm sorry. Like, De'Aaron doesn't suck. Like, I know you want to believe that. I know you're desperately trying to find someone who will tell you De'Aaron Fox is a terrible basketball player. The reason you're not hearing it is because it's not true. De'Aaron's a good ball player. He has something to prove, though, because he and you know what? He doesn't have to prove how good of a ball player he is this year. He has to prove all of the people, me, you, James, he has to prove that all of the people who have said, this is less of a De'Aaron Fox problem and more of a Sacramento Kings problem, that they were right. Because I'm not going to say the Kings problem is solved, but man, it's a lot better than it was last year, and the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. You are in the best position with the best head coach that you've had during your time in the NBA. And you've got the best teammate that you've had during your time in the NBA. This is your time now to where those numbers you put up accumulate to wins. Not 74, but not 30.
Right.
You're better than that, and this team is better than that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. So it's all about the winning, man. It's all about the winning, and he's got to find a way to. And this is how I look at him, because whether you think he's the best player, one of the best, second player, whatever, he's one of the best players on the team. He's got to find a way to connect with everybody else on the roster and turn that production into wins. Like, he's got to find a way. He hasn't found a way to do that yet. Whether that's his fault or not, whether he has enough talent or not, he hasn't consistently found a way to do that. And that's one of the things that needs to be how he elevates his game to another level, where it's not just about the points anymore. It's about the production leading to winning basketball. Even the things that you can't measure in stats, like defense.
Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Deuce Mason, Morgan Reagan, they join us next here on ESPN 1320. All right.
NBA Young Cole. I disagree with you, big dog. I do. You talking about Rondo. Rondo was playing with 3 other Hall of Famers. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Jesse said Rondo was the best player on this. No, he wasn't. And I'll tell you. And you mean like the KG teams? After 2001, what did they do after? I can't remember. Did they make like playoffs and stuff like that, or? Oh, hell no, absolutely not. And this is why I say no, because if you take those guys off there and you say Rondo lead us, they'd be a bottom 5 team in the East.
Sorry, no one can hear Jesse, so this is kind of silly. Sorry, no one can hear him, so Kenny's arguing with dead air. Let's see here. Let's bring in Deuce. What's up, guys?
Hey. I liked Kenny arguing with dead air.
I gotta switch over.
That's weird. You're not echoing though.
I was echoing on my end.
Oh, okay. You were not echoing on this end.
Chess.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
How you doing?
No, we're on the air. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So when are you guys moving in?
Who knows?
Hey, real fast, because Morgan probably doesn't know about the rant, but Damien went on this huge rant about 98 Rock the other day. What show was talking about you guys?
Oh, I don't think anyone was talking about us, to be honest. I think so. I'm positive. I'm confident it was that damn show, their afternoon show. But I guess it's a long story. That was the day we were not on the radio, and so tensions were. I was already a little agitated, but I got Dope One's artwork all over our new building.
Yeah,
like Donnie donated it, and I printed it.
Oh,
Not Odyssey, nothing like that. Donnie donated the images, and I printed it. So we hung them, all over, and they were talking shit about a Jay-Z picture being outside of their studio.
Yeah,
I didn't respond the best.
you did. Oh.
Wait, did they do that on air? Or?
Yeah.
They've had,
Why is it even a bit?
They've had a couple of moments on air recently that have pissed me off. So it was like, all right,
They're shock jocks.
Let's-
It's 1994 again.
Yeah, let's
We've got
tighten that
guys
up.
working 15 hours, 16 hours a day to make sure 5, 6 radio stations stay on the air, and they're on their show talking shit. And that,
Ooh, let the drama begin.
It's got to be hard talking for like 3 minutes and then tossing to some music. I don't know how you do it.
Stop. That's not cool.
It's true though.
I know, but we're not here to also talk.
Oh, I
crap.
am. I'm on Damien's side. Let's go. This is an invasion. Let's
come on, Morgan.
Yeah.
Or
You
live.
Wolfpack or black and white? What's
Yeah,
going on?
Come on, are you?
Okay, no, it's true. Like when people cross the line, like I've noticed myself, I can't tolerate people crossing the line lately, and I find myself just like saying what I need to say. So you're right.
That was Damien the other day.
Okay.
Full line stepper.
I guess.
It's like, well, we've got a different format here. We're not on the radio. Let's just let it fly. We just hung out for we had to pass 4 hours somehow. There it was. That's how we did it. But we're the real. It did create a new catchphrase. We're the new 90. We're the real 98 Rock. We're 98.5 FM. And 8.
Yeah.
And so we're doing the Rock, the Jay-Z thing. So we're the real 98.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I'll have to go watch their show on YouTube. They're on YouTube, right?
No, we're coming back.
You're so. Look at him stirring.
It's gang over here.
I love this. I had to mute them because we were coming back, and it just looked like they were arguing, which you couldn't really tell. I'm down with Deuce Mason, man. Deuce Mason stays having the back of D-Lo. Morgan, I'm not so sure about at this point.
What?
Yeah, whose side?
Wait, you guys, no. This whole time I've been completely on your side. I just talk smack. Usually I talk more smack off air or behind the scenes, and you guys are just doing it right there. Laying
so
it
you're
all
a
out.
coward.
Sure. However, if you want to call me that, okay. But at the same time, I have your guys' back. Do you want me to go punch somebody? I will. I'll go physically hurt somebody.
You don't have. We don't want you to. We don't want you to punch anyone.
We don't.
Okay.
No, we don't want that.
Not the answer.
Verbally hurt them because I can do that.
Tangents on a live stream. That's the answer, Morgan. That's how you fix the world's problems right there. You guys picked a great day to do a night chat.
Oof.
We picked a great day. It's a great day to have you on. Donovan Mitchell,
Yeah.
A member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. What'd you think when that Woj bomb came out?
I thought, okay, we know Utah's out, and so who are the Kings playing in the play-in?
Oh, stop. I did that. It was one of the first thoughts, though, is like, finally, we can count them out. And I know some people are like, what? Why weren't you just counting them out in the first place? It's hard. They still had like Boyan and Donovan Mitchell and
Clarkson.
And you just didn't know. But now with that main piece gone, it's like, great, count them out.
Yeah, they're done. Stick a fork in them. And you know what? For me personally, it doesn't change anything. Not with the Sacramento Kings. The objective is the same and has been the same since I think it was the day after the last game of the season last year. I said by any means necessary, man. Like this has to end. This has to end. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that this thing doesn't get to 17. And they've done a good job of that. Monty's done a good job of doing everything that he can do this offseason to try and put something together. The objective is still the same. In the mandate, there may not be no mandate in the building. There's a mandate on D-Lo and KC. Make the playoffs, or our heads are going to roll. People got to go if it don't happen this year. We don't have 3 years to figure this out.
I saw a crazy stat on Twitter after the trade. Utah has had 5 losing seasons in the last 40 years.
Cool.
Wow.
The Kings have had 8 winning seasons in 37 years. That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
As far as the trade, though, I mean, I love it for Cleveland. I mean, and I know everyone's like, there's people on, the draft picks that Ainge is getting, whatever. Here's what I know. Cleveland's going to be fun to watch this year.
Yep.
I'm kind of mixed on Donovan Mitchell, but I think with the pieces surrounding, they didn't have to give up Evan Mobley. They didn't have to give up Garland. They didn't have to give up Jared Allen. They've got their core together. And the one thing that Donovan, I think, will benefit from is not only being in a new spot, but he's got Allen and Mobley behind him. He's got some legit rim protection, and I do think the vibe should be better, right? Like there is clear the Utah thing wasn't about talent per se. It was about that a lot of those guys didn't like each other.
Yeah, and you guys know when you have a better vibe around any team, it's some people use the word culture, far too much. Culture. I think it really depends on what situation it is. Like, for example, the Sacramento Kings, they have never even established a culture in how many years. So it's like they need a better culture. The Jazz, they at least had like good basketball happening on the floor in that sense, but things just weren't vibing. So now he's going to be new scenery, new squad, and some good pieces on the squad. There's no reason why the Cavs shouldn't look really good this season.
It just dawned on me it's 106 and you got your Chris Webber crew neck on. That is commitment to your sweater gimmick right there. Your
D'Lo and Casey.
You are committed to that biggest heat wave on the planet. But Morgan, no.
It's a heat dome. Get the crew necks.
Yeah.
Like what?
Okay, I would rather be hot than cold, and there's air conditioning on right now, and I honestly don't like feeling cold at all. Plus, you guys, I don't know if you noticed, I've worn the same 5 crew necks for the past 4 months. I don't wear anything else. I don't try in the off season.
Personally, that's my favorite one of your crew necks. Personally, I don't know what it is, but there's just something about that crew neck that I love. Where like you like the move for Cleveland, you guys said, but like how much do you like it? I like Cleveland a little bit more than Kenny did coming into this season. Now we've got him like probably in for us, we've got him in that 5th, 6th, maybe 7th range. I'm leaning more towards the 5th and the 6th and the 7th. What do you guys think?
That sounds about right. I mean, unless Donovan goes to another level, what does Mobley look like in year 2? Mm-hmm. I love Evan and Mobley. And I think he has a chance to be pretty special. The biggest thing for them is like, it's not just about this year. For them, of course, they're going to be better, I think. You had an all-star caliber player who's in the prime of his career. Yeah. But like Donovan Mitchell's under contract for the next 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome for them, right? And you've got a lot of young guys. It's just fantastic for them they're going to be they should be in the mix in the East for the next few years.
Wait, are people down on Donovan Mitchell or something? I feel like
I think so. I mean, I'm a little down on him after last year.
I know you've been down on him and you question certain things, but I guess for you guys, are you guys down on Donovan Mitchell? Because sometimes I feel like I get it if everyone's not confident in him being like the guy that can get you over that hump, but he's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, I'm with it with Donovan Mitchell. I think he's a game changer. And I whether it was the Knicks or the Cavs or whatever, he's a guy that can elevate your team to another level. Yes. We talk about Cleveland. We thought as they were about to be about where they were last year, 7, 8, 9, somewhere like that, along with Atlanta getting better and things of that nature. But you add Donovan Mitchell into the mix. Now they're definitely in the playoffs. I could see him getting as high as 4. Right now, I'm trying to wrap my brain around the fact that I think they're better than Miami. And yeah, I could see them being 4. And if everything went right, pushing one of those top 3 teams.
I didn't like Donovan on the Knicks. That's the only thing. That's the
I'm
thing
with you.
I'm on. I didn't like that. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't know who benefited from it. And other than Utah, that was the only thing I was down regarding Donovan Mitchell. It was the fit with the New York Knicks as a ball player, not at all.
Yeah, and I think from the Knicks' perspective, everyone's going to clown on him today. But it's like they didn't want to give up all the assets. And like if they didn't think he was going to be the change that they needed to take that jump in the East, right? I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Brunson and Randall, is that really enough in the East to be compelling? No, because they have weaknesses. I think if you have Donovan Mitchell on your team, you, number one, hope he is better defensively than he was last year. I think he can be. But you got to have some nice pieces around him, defenders. The Knicks don't totally have that. From Utah's perspective, I mean, look, if you're going to tear it down, tear it down. You took a guy that you drafted 13th overall in Donovan Mitchell and got 3 future picks, 2 pick swaps, and a rookie. You took Gobert, who's 30 years old, who you got 27th overall, who makes a ton of money and you got all those assets back, like, okay, this is the teardown. I mean, if you're a Utah fan, I don't know how you're excited today. It's not going to be fun next year. You're going to have a really bad team, and they'll probably trade Boyan and Clarkson now, probably Conley. But look, if you're going to move guys, that's what you do. Get the assets.
And that's the other thing, you guys. Now we have to watch. We're on Boyan and Conley watch for the Lakers, right? And if for some reason there is something there with the Lakers that makes the Lakers better. I know everyone thinks they're just like a laughing joke, but they still have Anthony Davis. They still have LeBron James. Like, they're still going to be a decent team. And then if you look at pieces like that, they're going to get better. Who knows what Darvin Ham can get out of them too.
Why do we have to look at the Lakers as a decent? They stunk last year. They were awful. They had
coach
last year. LeBron James scored 30 points per game last year. They were awful.
Yeah.
That's telling the whole story, though, if we're being fair. Anthony Davis, if Anthony Davis play 70 games, they make the playoffs.
Oh, come on now. Wait a minute. What are we doing? We've talked
70?
before.
Can he play 40? Can he play 40?
I'm just saying. I'm saying
I get it.
That's more of the reason why they didn't make it, as opposed to the roster. Just
but I thought we came to an agreement. You turned on me in front of Deuce and Mo, and now it's 3-1. I thought that's not happening. 70 games is not happening.
I find it hard to believe he's going to play 50 games next year.
I mean, you do?
I know, Kenny, and I get what you're saying.
I find it hard to believe, like that. To be honest with you, and I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this like because I want it to happen by no means, but that'd be a gift from the gods. Because if he plays 50 games again, the Lakers aren't making the playoffs.
So he last played 50 plus games the 2019-20 season, 62.
Well, there you go.
I mean, that's not bad because that's a 72 game
Okay,
season,
fair.
right?
Okay, so the 2021 season he played 36, and then last year he played 40. It's just not true. I mean, I think we all agree. I think we all agree. If Anthony Davis is healthy, it's a game changer for them, no doubt.
And not only that, though, I am still. Again, I understand. Like 30 points, LeBron James averaged last season, and they still look like crap, right? I get that. This really is going to be a new squad. Whatever happens with Russ, I don't know. But you think about Darvin Ham. You think about, I know, and no one's going to be like, whatever, but like a healthy Kendrick Nunn. You got Juan Toscano-Anderson. You got Lonnie Walker. You have some pieces, and I'm not acting like these are championship pieces, but these are pieces that can screw with the Sacramento Kings, that can screw with other teams in the West, possibly, especially if they did add some shooting in Boyan, right?
This is when I go towards Damian's side because they're not good enough around those guys. Like, their hope is Anthony Davis is healthy. Around those two, they're not good enough.
Are they not good enough for a play-in though? With the teams that we know that are out of it, that's the thing, right? I'm not trying to sit here and act as if like it's hey, they're going to be a contender. I don't think they're going to be a contender in the West at this point, especially not knowing AD. I don't love the roster, like, but they should compete for a play-in. Like, they're going to be in Sacramento's way.
They're going to.
If they get the same production out of AD again, they're at best battling 9 and 10.
But that's where the Kings are probably at.
Yeah, but that's another spot that we said was open. Because right now, I think a lot of people, and I'm not alone in this, are when they talk about, San Antonio and Utah fell out, they're like, yeah, but the Lakers are getting in there, so now you really have one spot available. I've heard that a lot of times. So I think they're assuming AD's healthy. They're giving them at least some type of 7-8 spot in somewhere in that top 10. If AD is unhealthy again, I don't know. They could not make it again.
I mean, are you guys like sleeping on the Portland Trailblazers? I feel like a lot of people have that perception of like, what's Dame and Jeremy Grant going to do? And it's hard for me to count out Dame Lillard until he shows me that I should be counting him out in his career, right? And I think people are down on him in his injury year and everything that was going down, but we know what he's capable of, and it seems like they're going to have a tweaked team, if that's a fair thing to say.
They don't move me.
Oh, you're sleeping. Good night.
I mean, again, I'm not as high on them. Like, I like I like the addition of Jeremy Grant, but they're in the Kings mix. right? But again, to me, it's a
you
team.
guys.
I think they're a play-in team. They're in that.
They
They're
are
for a play-in team.
They are.
The only teams that you count out: Oklahoma City,
Uh-huh.
Houston, San Antonio, and Utah.
Yep.
That's
I
fair.
mean, New Orleans is probably going to be better. Now, there's an if there with Zion, but if healthy and he looks good, they're going to be pretty fun to watch, right? The Clippers, on paper, it looks like a pretty nice team. Now, it's a little older, but you get Kawhi back, Paul George, you got Norm Powell. They made some nice moves. I mean, John Wall.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they're a well-coached team. They're going to compete. So, yeah, it's not... I don't even care that it's hard. Like this is competition. I want the Kings to battle. I don't want them to just like walk into a play-in spotlight. Earn it for sure.
Yeah.
I'd be fine if they walked in that way.
I guess.
And then when Russell Westbrook averages a triple-double this year, we'll forget about it.
Is he doing that in Utah?
Oh.
Well, but look, Damian, I'll say this, and you brought it up a number of different times. It ain't like you talk about triple doubles and it ain't like Russ had a terrible statistic year. Like I don't think he was bad as people make it out to
Best
be.
player.
Huh?
Jeannie Buss said he was our best player.
Well,
Oh,
he needs to settle down. But
He was our best player.
he needs to
She
settle
did clarify that. I meant, because he played the most games. Yeah, okay. Cool.
LeBron
Thanks,
James
Jeannie.
did not average 30 points per game last year.
That's all I have to say. Even with my bad. Go ahead.
You're listening to D-Lo and KC along with Deuce Mo. We are a well-oiled machine here on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ, HD2, the real 98 Rock Sacramento, ESPN 1320. Driven by Lasher's Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. Go ahead, partner.
No, I was just gonna say to that point we were talking about. You were talking about Westbrook. Westbrook could have another good year. And once again, if Anthony Davis ain't there, it don't matter.
Yeah.
Because their roster's not good enough.
It's
Like
not.
they're not good enough
I agree.
in a totality as a roster.
What, Damien? What?
No, go ahead.
I find it interesting that because I understand what you guys are saying about the Lakers roster. I get that. But at the same time, it's like when you do have LeBron James on your squad, there were tweaks made, and everyone is talking about Darvin Ham and his coaching and what he could be capable of. How does that, like the way that we talk about the Sacramento Kings is that same way. It's like tweaks are made, except there is no LeBron James and a new coach. And we talk about what he can add with Mike Brown, what he can add having this new coach and coaching. And we talk so highly of them. How are we not doing the same with the late? And I get it.
They don't have depth. They don't have depth.
get that
AD
it's
plays
not-
40 games. I mean, they're going to count on Damian Jones. I mean, we like Damian Jones, but I mean,
They didn't have enough, and they lost like probably one of the top three best players in Malik Monk. Malik Monk was the top three best player for them last year. They lost him. And Lonnie Walker, who I think is a good ball player, I don't think that's good enough. And they didn't add anything else. Pat Bev ain't going to get it done.
I mean, but
and LeBron, I mean, the other thing too is we got to mention LeBron played 56 games last year. The year before that, he played 45. So, it's like, hey, if these guys are healthy, I just don't know that you can count on those things at this point. But I still think, if they're healthy, it's going to be interesting.
yeah, I don't know. I just think we need to make sure that we're not getting excited about and throwing all of our biases into something that we see that we are close to when the same kind of crap could be happening, down south in California.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. The Kings don't have LeBron or AD, but the Lakers don't have depth. Like they have no what? Are you scared of their depth?
I mean, no.
Max Christie? You're scared of Max Christie?
No.
I mean, I'm not.
I love that I said that so confidently.
Scottie
No.
Pippen Jr. is on the team. I mean, you're not fearful of that.
That's fine.
Both those guys are gonna be awesome. I would look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Those guys are going for 30 apiece when they play Sacramento. Gosh, I didn't realize LeBron's game total was so low last year. I know that's what kept him out of actually winning the scoring title. But yeah, it's
What was it again?
56.
No. Like, what was the injury again? It was last year. Wasn't the ankle? Was it? No, that was during the second pandemic year. What happened to him last year? I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Went to the national championship, maybe. I don't know.
Deuce is looking up the injury history.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
can't find it.
just tapped out. That's what he did. It's like, oh no.
A lot of it in 2022 was listed as a knee. He had the ab injury, the abdominal injury that kept him out too. That was in
Start of the
late
season.
November into January. Yeah.
Have we talked about Minnesota? What do you guys think of the Timberwolves this year?
Man. I feel like I have to recuse myself from this conversation because I can't stand Minnesota. Period. Minnesota. I'm just not a Cat guy, and I know Cat's so good. Cat's so good.
Oh my God.
Cat is one of the biggest frauds in the NBA. He's a talented guy, but you know whose team that is? It's not Gobert. It's not Cat. That is Anthony Edwards' team. And that's probably the one reason where I'm like, yeah, I dig them because I believe in his star potential. He's the leader of that team, and he's like in his second year.
Straight clean.
Third year.
That's fair. I mean, yeah.
I agree with that. That was harsh, but I don't agree with that.
Cat gets numbers. It's great.
Cat gets under his skin too. Obviously, he calls Cat. It's DeMarcus Cousins with a smile is how he puts it. You know, like he can get those numbers, but he can also get away with a lot of things because he's still smiling. He has a different type of body language about him that when he carries himself.
My point is DeMarcus got dumped on a lot for his body language, right? Like, oh, not getting back on defense, blah blah blah. It's like Cat does the same. He does the same stuff,
but he smiles.
Well, and here's the deal: when I look at Cat play, and I only mean this in a basketball sense, because we know in real life, you know, prayers up to my man, but he's a little too emotional for me on the basketball court. Like he's too reactionary, too bad calls, to not get calls. It's too much. Like, and I feel like it affects his game sometimes.
It takes him out of possessions. If it takes you out of possessions, then yes, it affects your game. It affects your team. And this is a team sport, and it definitely does that with Cat. And if he can better that part of his game, which is very, very difficult, but if he can, then yeah, he could make his team better. He could be a better player, all these different things. So with Minnesota, I feel like I'm going into this season more with the question mark over them. Like, what are they going to look like? You know, what is it going to look like with these two bigs in there? Obviously, Cat can stretch the floor on the offensive end, but defensively, is it just our teams just shooting because they can't come into the paint? You know, is that going to be the strategy other teams go with when they're going against this team? I don't know. So I feel like with them, it's more of a question mark, and I'm excited to see what it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be sustainable.
I just think you're paying Gobert and Cat a lot of money, a lot. And what's that going to look like? I don't know. I love Anthony Edwards. I didn't love the Gobert and Cat pairing, but it could work out. I don't know. And again, I know Cat's talented. Every time I talk about Cat, it's like, Deuce, he's really, really good. I'm like, I know he could shoot the three. He does a lot of good things, but I guess I see a lot of what you guys see when you talk about the emotional side and taking him out of games. And it's just a little over the top for me.
I have absolutely zero desire to share my take on Minnesota after all of that.
Wait, I want to know. Are you super excited?
Damian thinks they going.
Going where?
I think that's the top 3 team in the West next year.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to like clown on that.
I think they're what Memphis was this year. I think Memphis falls back and Minnesota's the team that jumps up.
I agree with Memphis dropping. I do. I just think Jaren Jackson out again. It's an interesting time for them. Losing DeAnthony Melton, I think, hurts. I don't know. Yeah, and I do like Ja. I do like Ja. You know, it is interesting how good they were without him too. Like, how much does that come into play? I don't know.
I feel like Memphis. Okay, I'll take this beating.
Oh, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go.
Right now, to me, Memphis is what Cleveland was if Cleveland had just stayed healthy all year. Like, I don't buy Memphis yet. I don't think Memphis, we were wondering if Cleveland, prior to the Donovan Mitchell trade, was going to be back to a playing spot. Could they win a playing game? 45 wins, 44 wins. I don't think Memphis is winning 56 games next year.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
If I've got Minnesota moving up, Golden State, if Phoenix is a huge question mark, I think too. I've got LA up there. maybe they're fourth, but they might be in the 5-6 range.
And maybe they overachieved a little bit last year. It's possible.
I mean,
that's not crazy to say, I don't think.
you look at what they were doing in the postseason too, and the way that they had to adjust their entire game plan with Steven Adams, right? And just what is that going to look like this year? Obviously, teams
And then Jaw missing time.
Sure, it's going to look different. So you're probably right. It is going to adjust where they are in the standings. But I still think they'll be a solid team. And I think it's a fair analysis of what you said about Minnesota and where they could be. There's something exciting about it because, like we said, because of Anthony Edwards and a year more of experience under his belt. What is he going to be doing?
I do want to be clear too, Casey. I don't expect Minnesota to succeed in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, so you say they went from Minnesota's going to be this year's Memphis. Memphis was playing. They were technically an AC, but I think they had like the 9th seed that previous year and got into the playoffs, beating the Warriors. Then they shot up from basically 9 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that was, I shouldn't say a lot of it because I don't want to disparage the way they play. They were a good team last year, but it was a little circumstantial. The Clippers, who probably would have been up there, were in a different space this past year. The Warriors, for much of that year, were in a different space. The Nuggets had the MVP, but didn't have Jamal Murray. So they got to 2 because the West was a little decimated. This year, the West isn't decimated. Clippers are back. Nuggets may be back. The Warriors are going to be there full time. Phoenix is going to be there full time as well. So for now. So I look at Minnesota. I just don't see a jump like that because the circumstances aren't the same in the West. So I could see them going from 7 to 5 maybe, and that's still good. That's still dope. And also Memphis coming back. They're not going to be the 2 seed again because everybody's back now. Everybody's back and healthy. Part of them getting 2 last year was, like I mentioned, all those teams were dealing with stuff. And as long as they don't deal with injuries again, I think they're better than Memphis.
Well, someone has to finish 1, 2, and 3. I mean,
Phoenix, Golden State, and Clippers.
I don't think I disagree with that, but Phoenix is confusing to me.
Yeah, that's the one team. It's probably the biggest question mark for me, just about who they are. I'm sorry, I have the lasting image of what went down in that game against the Mavs. Yeah. That can't just be brushed aside. That wasn't just, that was a bad loss in December. That was a game 7 on your home floor. You were in the championship the year before that. Chris Paul's older. They're going to have to manage his minutes too. Like, we know that. He's been nicked up the last couple of years, even he's been so impactful. And then like the Ayton stuff. I don't know. Is it good? Is everything cool now? Is he fine? Is he content? Is everything's been squashed? He wanted to go to the Pacers. It wasn't just signing the offer sheet. He wanted to go to Indiana. Obviously they elect to match it, but I don't know. It's interesting. And then you add in the other stuff, right? Like they were in the KD rumors too. Did that mess up any of the vibes? I think they're a big question mark to me. They could be fine and be near the top, but I could see them drop too.
Yeah, every time we talk about these question marks too, it does get me excited because I do, and I think my biases are there.
Ooh.
Sometimes.
What are you saying, Morgan?
Whoa! I'm not gonna do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying, because even in my head, I'm thinking about Luka and the Mavs and where they're at. And I feel like if the Sacramento Kings and everything that we keep talking about them, especially when we compare their depth to teams like the Lakers, like we were even saying, if they can create this culture and establish this culture, this great basketball culture this season, team culture this season, I think there's some things that they can do in this Western Conference. Yes. Like talking about some of these. Now, again, that doesn't even mean for me, that's playoffs. That's literally play in for me. That's my best case scenario for this season. And will they win that play-in game and get into the playoffs? We'll have to see. I'm going to judge this team after 20 games is when I told myself I'll have a better way of defining what this team really is this season. I know I have. So
I
many
just
things.
don't. You know, we always say that. I don't know who was the first person to say 12. You need 20, 25,
Do people
30
say
games.
20 games?
Yeah, they do, and it's
I say
interesting
20
because I'm
games.
like, okay, if you would have saw Boston after 20 games last year, like, they suck.
Well, and I always use them as an example.
The
too.
Pelicans were like,
No, you're absolutely right.
After 30 games, the Pelicans were like 9 and
absolutely. It's not like it goes for every single case, right? For every single team, it doesn't mean that is the case for every single team. But at the same time, for a team like the Sacramento Kings, I think it would be easier to state what they kind of are after 20 games. There's so much unknown with this King squad, but yes, we are all excited about the depth. We are excited about what can be created with this team basketball, not only because of the roster, but also because of the coaching staff, right? You're seeing these guys go out to concerts together. That team atmosphere is there. Everything feels good. But I'm trying not to get caught up in everything feels good right now, but I'm also trying to believe in Mike Brown and the culture that he came from, and that's what he's bringing.
Need a Tristan Thompson hype video.
Oh boy,
that's what we need, man.
Tristan mixtape. That's where it started.
TT.
Look at that boy, Tristan. Over there on Bagley's head. The next time we talk, training camp will have started. Like that happened at the end of this month. Outside of the obvious is De'Aaron Fox. Is there a player that you think on this Kings team has a lot to prove?
Outside De'Aaron.
I don't know. I mean, it's weird because it's not Sabonis, but it's in NBA circles. I feel like outside Sacramento, Sabonis doesn't get the love he deserves.
He's never mentioned in the Tyrese Halliburton conversation.
No, they gave away Tyrese, right? They got nothing back.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Sabonis has something. The guy's made 2 All-Stars, but like if he can have an impactful year, show that he's been working on that jumper and that it translates to the season, and then all of a sudden the Kings are legit, I think that shows the rest of the league. Yeah, this guy is underrated. This guy's in the prime of his career. He's skilled. He does a lot of great things. Is he perfect? No, but he's pretty damn good.
And I think being in Sacramento, you talk about a lot to prove. Yeah, it's going to go for the 1-2 punch, right? De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis. It's going to be those 2 guys that have the most to prove, because those are the 2 guys that not only this team needs to rely on for a lot of things, but the league looking around, everyone's going, those are the 2 guys that can get them to the next level. That can be the guys for this team. Yeah.
No, it's going to be a fun year, Morgan. I'm telling you.
It's going to be fun.
I agree. Now, let me ask you guys, we talked about this a little earlier too, because, I'm out, trades happen. People I'm a scavenger. I'm a vulture out here. Oh, you having a fire sale? Let me see what them scraps looking like. All right. Then I'm looking at the Jazz, and I'm looking around. Bojan, Clarkson. I like Clarkson, obviously. Conley, Rudy Gay, guys like that. Malik Beasley, they just got him. And I was looking around. I was like, I don't know if they don't really have anything the Kings need right now that they don't already have. Then I looked around. I said, outside of obviously an all-star, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, somebody like that, I think the Kings roster is about good right now. It's about good. And we'll reevaluate come trade deadline, but I think they're done. Then they should focus on getting this group together. What you guys think they're done now? How do you feel?
Yes, and I know like everyone tries to trade Harrison Barnes every other day. Like how many trade ideas I hear about Harrison Barnes. I'm like, if you trade Harrison Barnes, are you getting better? I don't think so. I don't think there's a trade right now that you trade Harrison Barnes that you will get better. Because
the trades that we see, people go, why wouldn't you just trade Harrison Barnes for Klay Thompson?
Yeah.
I just don't get it, because that's not going to happen. Yeah. But yes, exactly.
So I'm cool with start the year with this roster. I like it. I think it's a solid roster. Is it perfect? No, but look, when you've got Fox and Sabonis, give me some shooting. Check. I think they've got a rookie that's going to be able to contribute right away. That's great. I think Rashawn Holmes has a chance to have a nice bounce back year. He's going to find his role. All the stuff he was dealing with, that's out the window. He's been around. Like I just think the vibes are really good. I'm excited to see what Davion can bring. I'm cool with starting this year with this roster.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think a roster like this, it really just depends on how you play team basketball, right? Because there isn't that Jason Tatum. There isn't that the go-to guy, even though I know people want that to be De'Aaron Fox, but we haven't seen that from De'Aaron Fox. So we can't just...
Well, you've seen flashes.
I would say we've seen it if it was consistent. Sure. Flashes to me are not, I mean, that doesn't make you the guy because you have some flashes. Yeah. But I get what you're saying, but no, consistency can make you the guy. So we haven't seen it yet. And I'm one of the people that I'm on board with De'Aaron. I think he can be that guy. He let me down last year when I was pushing for it and I thought he could be, but that's okay. Let's see what he's going to do this year. Everyone's saying he has a different mentality. So yeah, you look at this.
Dude was working out in Italy on his honeymoon.
Dude,
and then he came back.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You get excited about those things. I'm so glad you asked me this on a night chat. Deuce said, doesn't it excite you that he's like working out in Italy? And I was like, when I heard it at first, I got excited. And then when I saw videos, I'm like, I don't care. I just need to see the season
I'm not
start for
saying
him.
that guarantees that he's going to be an all-star. All I'm saying is that's cool to see that the guy's like, hey, I don't care. I may be on my honeymoon, but I'm going to work out and I'm going to keep working on my game. That's cool.
This guy, give him some of those hype videos.
Kenny, I know you saw that and you're like, I get down with that.
I mean, I was indifferent because look, this may be boring and this isn't good for content or anything like that. All that matters is the W's. That's all that matters.
Well, yes, I know, but we don't have W's right now. There's no games right now.
You guys are horrible people. Let the man have a freaking honeymoon without worrying about a jump shot. Let the man have a honeymoon.
I disagree. Time out. I'm not even saying that he should be doing it. He wants to do that. And by the way, let's not lose sight of that his wife is a baller, so she's down to play some basketball too. So that's cool. Like, the man. No, I'm not saying I'm not here to be like, hey, you know what? My concern is he didn't work out during his honeymoon. I just think he just seems like he's really engaged. Right now.
And I love it. I'm just not going to get excited about it. I will get excited about it if it translates on the floor.
Morgan, we're gonna look back at this moment. We're gonna look back at man. It all changed when Sabonis and Fox had that big hug because his vibe has completely changed since that moment.
You guys,
it's true. But if we talk about moments that changed everything, we already know the moment that changed everything. You guys know what it is?
What is it?
It was that announcement on lottery day that Anjali Ranadive is the assistant general manager in Stockton. Ever since that moment, it's been nothing but good vibes here in Sacramento. That was the game changer.
If that's the case.
Nani.
Thank you,
Nani. Everything.
If that's the case.
I'm going to tell y'all this. When I take my vacation next year to whatever island I'm going to, I'm not working on my rejoiners. I'm not. I got rejoiners. Work on coming back from commercial while I'm on vacation.
Well,
that's fine. You know what? If some big trade happens, I'm on vacation. I'm going live because I want to. I love it. Let's go.
Bullied this man into working out on his honeymoon.
Wait.
He chose to.
And not only that though, Damian, I did say this too. I agreed that he should be working out on his honeymoon. And the only reason, and I'm not saying like he should or I would have been pissed. I'm just saying he should because of how close it was going into this season. And you know how it needs to happen for pro basketball players. It's got to be on the daily, especially if you have something to prove.
Okay, he could take a week off. Let's settle down.
No, not this close to the season. Okay. You just can't.
What are we talking about
Dude, you lose things within a week. Like you can. No, I'm so glad that he was working out on his honeymoon, but no, it does not excite me.
Disclosure, I had a honeymoon once and she left to go work out with USA Basketball.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
She's great. That's why she's great.
Yeah.
So doesn't that?
That's why I feel the way I do about Karen. Hey, have your honeymoon, bro. Like, come on, man. Just enjoy your honeymoon.
Aww.
Are you guys? I mean, Night Chat's coming back tonight. We're less than a month away from training camp. I know what the Deuce Mo podcast is all about, but like, are we excited for football at all?
No. Oh, I mean, you for the podcast? You're saying?
No, for you.
It's funny. I'm just, man. My life. It's weird how life changes because I used to be so into football. I'm watching all the time, but I think because of our schedule during the season with NBA and G League. The G League schedule just came out today, and I'm looking over the schedule. I'm going, all right. Sundays are like, it's rare that you have a Sunday off.
Yeah.
And so you're not watching games.
The amount of prep that just even goes into these G League guys, and Deuce does a fantastic job of like researching and breaking down most of these G League guys, and I get to cheat and off of his homework and get to take a lot of his research and then go study them. It's fantastic. And it's like, but it takes so much time. All of the prep takes so much time that it's like I can't even soak in another sport at that time.
I'll say this. I'm a casual. At this point, I'm a casual. I'm intrigued by I'm very interested in the Niners this year. I'm intrigued to see how the dynamic is. What's it? Shanahan's coming out and saying like, "Hey, this is the best roster I've had." Okay, and now Trey Lance is your guy. What's that going to look like? If you think this is the best roster, you got to win.
Let me try it real quick. I just want to try it. Mo, what you think about them re-signing Jimmy G?
I didn't care. I understood it, right? It's just for make good with everyone. Good job, Jimmy G. Does it bother you or something? Because I'm not even a Jimmy G fan, but I'm like, I would rather have him be there than be in Seattle, right?
See, Mo, she keeps it a stack.
But I'm a cash.
The same energy. She thinks Jimmy G stinks, and she thinks he stinks now. My whole thing was people were saying the same stuff 10 months ago. Jimmy stinks. They went in spite of Jimmy. Now he comes back. Oh, well, maybe he might be better than Trey. You might have to start him up. Fam, you just told me he stinks. Why, how are you switching up now?
Well, I think some people are a little concerned about Trey, what they've seen, I guess. I don't know.
Don't worry about Trey. Trey gonna be perfectly fine.
What if we're like at week 7 and it's not going well?
Yeah, what will you do?
And you just see Jimmy throwing the ball on the sideline, smiling a little bit.
That is understandable. Week 7. We got people talking about week 1.
Oh, stop it.
Real people. People.
The reality is like
talk about week 1.
They gave up so much to get Trey Lance. Like he has to be their guy. And the question is he ready to be the guy with this team now?
Hey, you gotta roll with Trey till the wheels fall off. That's the way I feel. Because like you said, there's so much. You roll with him till the wheels fall off.
Yeah, and let's be honest about it. If it doesn't work, Shanahan and Lynch are out.
And so you actually believe in Trey Lance too, right?
I think he's gonna be fine. I'm not saying the supernova or nothing. He's gonna be fine. Okay. He can do what Jimmy did.
Well, a lot of people can do what Jimmy did. Just manage the football and throw it 3 feet. There you go.
I kind of like heel Morgan Reagan. Heel Morgan Reagan is good. Night chat tonight, 7
o'clock tonight. Night chat.
It's lit.
Good stuff, man. Night chat is back tonight, man. Gearing up for what will be a fun season. I'm excited, man. The next time we talk, training camp will be here. We'll have actual substance to talk about when it comes to the Sacramento Kings, the Stockton Kings in the NBA. Deuce and Mo, make sure you check them out on YouTube, on Twitch, and of course on whatever your favorite podcast channel is. We'll talk more Donovan Mitchell. We got Matt George coming up. We've also got to talk. Russell Wilson signed a contract extension. There's a couple of notes in there that I think are very much worth talking about. We'll do that. Plenty more ahead. I want to get back to Serena here on D'Lo and Casey on ESPN 1320.
Oh, you mentioned Matt George. Did you see his tweet about Chime Monecki and like I'd love to get style tips from him? I did. All I could think about is Matt George really gonna try to dress like Chime Monecki?
You be nice.
No, let's just be honest about it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Kenny.
Kenny
knows.
I mean, Matt George in some slim jeans, kind of dressed a little bit, some Air Jordan 1s. I mean, it could happen.
Matt George is a dad now. He has to dress like a dad, right? Don't you have to do that when you're a dad?
I'm a dad.
Oh, that's true. I already forgot. Okay, wait, never mind. Just dress like Kenny. Just tell Matt to dress like Kenny. There you go.
And then one follow up for Kenny. Have you been to the casino lately?
I haven't. My aunt was there last night. She's like, she took a picture and texted me. She's like, "Look who's up at the casino. You need to pull up." It was like 11:30. And
I thought about it.
If I was by myself, like if I was a single man and not like a father, I would have gone up there at 11:30. Hell yeah, on a Wednesday, I ain't doing nothing else. But I haven't been up there. I don't know when I'm gonna get up there, man. I was thinking about I might go up there, not to gamble, but I might go up there to the little bar and watch some college football on Saturday.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know.
You're so.
You just go by yourself and watch a game?
Absolutely.
Wow.
What a little.
Do it
You're
all the
just
time.
a cool dude, huh?
I'm an only child. That's what it is. Like I'm
yeah.
go do things by myself. It's all good.
Oh my gosh.
You end up eating people. You know,
God,
you
that
random
is.
people.
Whenever I do anything by myself, like head down, just like.
Oh, you're so approachable.
I know. No, but I do, and then I do enjoy conversations that are forced and end up happening. I'm like, oh, I'm glad that happened, but yeah.
Well, they have a show to do. So
Oh,
we should-
sorry.
Before you go,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much more we have. You guys done the is it called No Moo? No Moo.
Oh,
Damian.
Nomu used to have a like a food truck at the farmers market.
Right. Yeah.
and now they got their stuff in co-op. Yes, the chicken cutlets are legit.
The woman that created everything with Nomu, she's so into it too. She just the way that she wanted to perfect every bite in every single plant-based meat that she made. She was really into it. So
It's
yes.
legit.
I'm driving all the way to the co-op in hopes of getting the carne asada and the steak stuff. Like
Yeah, that was good. Yeah,
Carne asada was good, and I tried the not cheesesteak, but whatever it is, kind of like that you'd put on, and it was and I added more bell peppers and onions with it. And I was like,
oh yeah.
Okay, wait before you go.
Oh yeah.
This letter. I don't
Hey, if Matt George showed up wearing a blue headband, could you imagine? He better show up with a headband on. I'm going to be watching your stream to see.
Let's go, baby. I'm rocking a headband at some point when Studio Fit start. I'm
Oh, you're taking it back to Fabulous and Jada. What about the paper towel headband? What you know about that?
I ain't doing the I got to honor the gift bandana.
Did you used to do that? The Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson? I used to do that when I was a kid all the time. With my AI headband. I used to wear an AI headband.
I used to cross people over in my high school.
Look back at early episodes of Nitro, you can see Kevin Nash doing the Tupac look with the bandana turned back.
Yes.
Scott Hall would do it too.
Scott Hall would do it too.
Oh, and little Deuce would try to do it with a bandana he found at home for life.
Terrific.
Man.
That's so good. All right, guys, have a great
good one. Yeah.
night. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Oh man. For life.
Maddie McQueen in the chat. He wasn't the best player. That's fine. That's fair. That's fair.
Live on the Odyssey app, live on twitch.tv/ESPN1320, youtube.com/ESPN1320. Big thanks to Deuce and Mo for joining us as they do the first Thursday of every month. And again, training camp, media day, all of that good stuff at the end of September. So the next time we talk to them, man, we'll be off and running, not only in the NFL season, but in the NBA training camp part of the season as well. We're not done talking Kings, and we're not done talking Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Matt George of the Locked On Kings podcast, and of course, sports reporter over at ABC 10, will be with us coming up at about 3:15 or so. So make sure you are locked in for that. Lots of other things we're not going to dive in to anything, as Donovan Mitchell has been the focus of our conversation today. Obviously, a big time trade that NBA fans around the league have kind of been waiting for and expecting to happen ever since the Rudy Gobert deal. So we're going to talk a lot more about that in the final hour. But there are a couple of things. I do want to spend some time talking about the Russell Wilson deal. There's some things that really stood out to me. It's obvious. It's not even a remote surprise that Russell Wilson signed a contract extension with the Denver Broncos. Everybody knew that was coming. You trade the capital that the Broncos did to acquire Russell Wilson. You're not doing it for a year. You're doing it long term. They've got Russell Wilson under contract for like 7 years.
Jeez.
But remember, it's NFL contracts. Right. So there's a couple of points that really stood out regarding that. And we'll dive into that too. I should mention this. Stop me if you've heard this before. Oh man, we've got a lot to do here now that I think about it. there's a meeting tomorrow with the college football. There might be a vote, and I emphasize might be a vote on college football expansion, playoff expansion. Mm-hmm. I say might be because depending on who and what you read is depending on the likelihood of the vote. Some people say there is a meeting tomorrow. That's absolutely happening.
Yeah.
ESPN, no, it wasn't ESPN. I'm sorry. SI said it's 50-50 whether there's even a vote. And even if there is a vote, there's no telling which direction it's going to go.
Right.
So again, depending on what you read, college football could be expanding as soon as 2024.
From what I've heard or what I read, you probably read the same thing. It would have to be unanimous to change immediately or close to immediately. Like
right.
If it's not unanimous, then it would still change, I guess, but it would go after 2026. I think it would come into play after 2026.
Okay.
If it's unanimous, it could start, I think, would you say as early as 2024?
2024. I think the emphasis on 2026 is that when the current contract, the current TV contract expires?
Yeah. So, I was thinking about this the other day. We had a conversation on like Sunday before Sports Sunday. You were talking to Trista and I'm, getting different scouting reports and all this realignments. Like college football will be just fine. And college football, much like the NFL, will be just fine. Because for some, I know you're not really into this, but the gambling aspect is it's too great.
Well, no, college. I didn't realize college football was ever going anywhere.
No, it's not going nowhere. But remember, we would talk when the Pac-12, we were very upset because it changed.
Oh,
it's going to change for sure. But
it's going to change.
Right.
I still believe it's going to.
Yeah, for sure. But it's
drastically change.
It's not going to ruin it.
No. Dump the NCAA. It gets better immediately. Just call it college football. And don't be associated with the NCAA. As a matter of fact, your Pac-12s, that's part of the reason all of these teams are moving is because they're all still associated with the NCAA.
Yeah.
Get out from under the umbrella of the NCAA and just have the SEC and the Big 10 and the Big 12 and have your 5 power conferences and keep it moving. You literally need the NCAA for nothing.
That day is done. You don't need them anymore. You got it handled yourself. And yeah, college football is just fine. As much as I bellyache, I'm gonna miss the conferences the way they were because that's how we grew up with them. But like I said, we talked about it. Week 1, we hyped. You know what I mean? I'm looking at this. I'm a guy that would like to gamble on the games. This is super exciting to be able to get back on a parlay and stuff like that. And everybody feels it's perfect, just like the NFL, because it's once a week, and you can kind of reset things. When you talk about daily fantasy or gambling on it or whatever the case may be, it's just fine. I'm very hyped. We're less than 2 hours away from the start of college football, actually, and I'm hyped. I'm gonna be watching. I think it's Fresno State and Cal Poly. Yeah, I'll be checking that out at 7:30.
I won't. However,
nothing else to watch there either.
However, I will say in last year, I think you said, I remember going into, you excited for college football? Nope. Sure wasn't. Year before, it certainly wasn't. Just wasn't. I'm hyped for this weekend. I'm ready for college football to be back.
This is a good weekend, man.
I'm concerned though. Like I'm ready for college football, and then like the NFL is here, and there's this good, all right, a little college on Saturday. Got my day full of the NFL on Sunday. I'm gonna try to really, really enjoy it in September because I feel like I'm gonna lose it in the middle of October when the King season gets here, especially if some D'Lo and Casey ventures shake out the way that's very, very possible. I'm going to enjoy college football for a month or so because I'm afraid when the Kings start cooking that I won't be eating off the college football plate anymore.
And look, all that means to me is I'm just gonna be up till 2 a.m.
Good for you. That's fine. You
That the other
as
day.
long as you throw a few things into the rundown around 1:35, you stay up till 2 a.m. all you
I
want
tried to do that the other day, and 2 a.m. I mean, I can still do it just because I'm a vampire by nature. But man, like I told you, the biggest thing is I used to be able to sit in that bed and watch TV for hours at night. Once I get in the bed, it's a wrap within about 15, 20 minutes. It is a wrap. So if I want to watch something, I better sit at this desk or sit on the couch somewhere.
Sit upright. I barely stayed up till 2 a.m. on the East Coast. You up here watching some game that probably put me directly to sleep. Yeah, they don't have my attention tonight, bro. You could fill me in, but come to think about it,
It's actually pretty good.
I'm gonna think about it. Outside of college, what the hell is on tonight?
Nothing. Should be WNBA Game 3.
Well, it's not because we had to put Candace Parker on the same time as Serena Williams, which was just. I do want to point out the incredible women we saw last night, going from. I don't want to say I went from Serena Williams to Candace Parker. I did technically and got to Candace Parker and the game ended. Literally flipped over. The game ended, went to Vegas. And I mean, not even counting the by the way, actually, while we're here, man, this was tough. But while we're here.
Well, are we doing that now?
No, I want to do it right now.
We got time?
Yeah, we got what we did before you started asking all these questions. Now I'm just going to wait. I was going to get in and get out because everybody knows who it is.
Yeah, well, no, let's take it from the top because I don't want to. Let's take it from the top.
I mean, I looked at what Stewie did yesterday in a loss, what Asia did in a win.
Feed Asia Wilson, Becky.
But rules are rules. We'll give out the latest Ceiling is the Roof performance of the night, brought to you by ACR Solar and Roofing that we ever did. We'll give that out. We'll talk more in depth about what Kenny and I are talking about. And I want to talk about Russell Wilson before we get back into Donovan Mitchell being a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, before we get back into talking Sacramento Kings basketball and NBA basketball with Matt George. I want to talk a little bit about Russell Wilson, and we will do that when D'Lo and Casey return here on ESPN 1320. All right, we're going to do something we normally don't do. We're both going to get up. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Entertain each other in the chat. Don't cause any trouble, and we'll be right back. think I'm eating the best grapes in history. Compared to what? No, I think it was more because he was choosing between. They were choosing between teams, and I think that's what they did to set themselves apart. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Yeah, I picked them up at Nugget today. I don't always grab grapes. I don't know what it was this morning. I was like, I'm gonna get these. Oh my God, they're incredible. Absolutely incredible. I really want to go downstairs and get more. I do like Kenny and send a text. Bring me some grapes. Oh man. When they have that, yeah. Ain't no lie, John Paul. This is good stuff. I'm thinking about those grapes for the next hour. Oh, man. Unlike this drink, I'm not going to be thinking about this. Yep, not good at all. Not good at all. What's that? I noticed like the day, what was it, Monday? I was like, man, there's that work from the office vibe is just dead. All right, shout out to our guy CJ. His CJ's a regular here in the Chatty House. His wonderful wife Paula. They had a dope ass flower business, Fig and Vine. They lost one of their puppies yesterday, and
oh man,
we're a dog friendly show, man, and I know how hard that is. So sending love to CJ and the family, and I wish I could say it gets better, dog. It doesn't get better; it just gets different. So sending y'all the love in the world, man. It's tough when you lose the love,
man. Yeah.
Let's do this here, Casey.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
The ceiling is the roof. Performance of the night brought to you by our friends over at ACR Solar and Roofing. Call 916-481-7200 to set your appointment when we get our August bills, our August and September electricity bills. You're going to be calling ACR Solar and Roofing after this week that Christina Warner put on us.
Come on, man.
Because, you know, meteorologists are in charge of the weather. Christina's got us going into this ridiculous heat wave this coming weekend.
Damn.
Don't pay for it. Unless you've called ACR Solar and Roofing. 916-481-7200. You can inquire about a new roof. Maybe that's causing your energy bills to be high. Or you can inquire about solar panels. They'll take care of you either way. 916-481-7200. The rules were clear. As long as she keeps winning, she gets the ceiling as the roof. Performance of the night brought to you by ACR Solar and Roofing, and that has not changed. Serena Williams gets the performance of the night. You said it earlier. She turned back the clock. She looked like young Serena out there. She was grunting and growling and yelling and fist pumping. She was shushing the crowd along the way, and she was advancing in the U.S. Open. Only 47 matches more for her to win this thing. But she took one major step, and it felt like the sports world was watching her last night.
It was a moment, man. It was a sports moment in my lifetime. I'm gonna remember, you know, if she continues to win, I'm gonna win the next. I'm gonna remember the next time and the next time. If she loses the next match, I'll remember that too. But this whole tournament is a moment right now with Serena going on a little mini run right now. Like you said, she's got 52 more rounds to go. But after the first two, you know, I mean, last night was everybody was locked in.
That was a scene.
Yeah,
that was a scene.
Shout out to Gladys Knight. You know, sitting there watching.
Both of them. Yeah, both of the Gladys Knights that were there.
Yeah, right there, just sitting there watching.
No one confused Spike Lee, that's for sure. He was there. Tiger Woods was there. There were
Offset was in the house.
There were a lot of people in attendance for that one. And they all made the camera too. Every single one of them made the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And Oprah only appeared by video. Man, think about that. You rolled out like Spike Lee was there, Tiger was there, Oprah had a video. What do they have planned if she actually gets to the finals and wins?
Oh man, everybody gonna be there.
Barack and Michelle are gonna be out there.
Barack gonna be in the building for sure.
Oh man, goodness.
Might be there. Mike might come.
There might not be regular people at Arthur Ashe. Like you talked about the tickets before. They just might not be available. Like, sorry, we've got 20,000 comps that went out. I don't know what to tell you. And all of this happened on the night. Breanna Stewart had 32-7 in a loss because A'ja Wilson had 33-13 in a win.
Hey man, get the ball to A'ja Wilson. We talked about this, I think, privately. Maybe it came on the show too, but I was
we did talk about it on the show for a few minutes. Yeah,
it seems like Kelsey, who made big shots at the end of the game as well. She's truth as well, but it felt like Kelsey Plum was taking more of an active offensive role on that team than A'ja Wilson. Didn't make no bones about it. I think they're the number one seed. Like it's worked all year long, but in the playoff time, I was like, man, I get that ball to A'ja a little bit more. They didn't do it in game one, and she couldn't really find the groove. She found that groove in game two. Balling. A'ja Wilson ball. Defensive player of the year, A'ja Wilson was balling.
She got to the foul line a lot last night, which I think helped her. And yeah, she was fed the rock last night, 12 of 18. And by the way, Kelsey 8. Yes. Kelsey 8.
Yes.
Chelsea 8. They still had big games, 19 and 18 respectively, for those two. But that game was won because and I'm going to say this: Becky Hammon's done a good job with this team. This dude has a certain persona to him, but one thing is very, very clear: he may not have made it to the NBA, probably for a variety of different reasons. But Bill Laimbeer knows the game of women's basketball. And he has built this Las Vegas Aces team into a powerhouse. Like, this team could win the championship this year. This team could win the championship for years to come. Like, this is as good of a basketball team as I've seen in the NBA in a while. The WNBA in a while, excuse me.
They're the real deal. They are the real deal. And Seattle is giving them everything they can handle right now. You know, Tina Charles turning back the clock, doing what she does.
Ooh.
Obviously, Breanna Stewart. There was a moment Vegas dodged a little bit of a bullet. I want to say it was a 4-point game. I know it wasn't a 2-point game, but Breanna Stewart had just hit a 3, I think, to give her 30. And I want to say it was a 4-point game with about a minute to go. Seattle, I think it was Birdie. She ran this pick and roll or whatever. And for whatever reason, they doubled Birdie and left Stewart wide open at the top of the key for a 3. I thought it was money. And if they would have made that, like I said, I think it was a 4-point game. It would have made it a 1-point game. I feel like Seattle would have won the game if she would have made that shot, just hit the front of the rim and came off. And that was really the last chance Seattle had. But Las Vegas dodged the bullet on that one. I don't know why you would leave Breanna Stewart wide open in that situation.
Yeah. Series tied at 1. It's been everything we thought it would be. It's been fantastic. Chicago opened up early on Connecticut. They even their series yesterday with the Connecticut Sun as well. Candace Parker, you talk about a big night for the legends, the women who are legends in their respective sports. Serena, Birdie was on the floor last night, and then Candace Parker, 22, 4, and 4, along with 3 blocks. Like, she is putting up some ridiculous stat lines this postseason, all 5 Chicago Sky in double figures. But that series is even. If you haven't tuned into the WNBA playoffs yet, I assure you, you are missing out.
And they're balling. The atmosphere in the 2 arenas that they've been into already has been really good. And I know Connecticut and Seattle is going to be just as popping, man. The playoffs, they've been real good. They've been real good.
You're listening to D-Lo and KC on KIFM West Sacramento, KRXQ HD2, 98.5 FM, The Real 98 Rock, Sacramento, ESPN 1320, driven by last year's Elk Grove Dodge, always live on the free Odyssey app. Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. That deal was made earlier today, as reported by Adrian Wojnarowski. Colin Sexton is a part of this deal. Sign and trade for Colin Sexton. We've been wondering for months what was going to happen with Colin Sexton. Well, he's a part of this deal. He signs, technically, I guess he signed with Cleveland and he was traded to Utah. About $72 million over 4 years for Colin Sexton, but really all eyes are on picks right now. And Utah has gathered 13 unprotected or lightly protected picks over the next 6 drafts, as Utah sent 3 unprotected first-round picks and 2 pick swaps. And this is a situation similar to the Minnesota deal where, okay, it's 3 picks. It's accurate, but it also includes the pick that Cleveland made a couple months ago.
Yep.
And
so 4 first-rounders.
Yeah.
And big swaps.
Yeah. And now Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And I think that's the right move if you're Cleveland. You know, it's a lot to give up draft compensation wise, but you're talking about getting Donovan Mitchell, who's a perennial all-star in this league, one of the best 2 guards in the game, at a very young age, locked up for some years. I think he's 4 years left on his deal, or at least 3 left on his deal. He's only 25, I think. So you've got that. You've got Darius Garland, who was an all-star this year. You just signed him to an extension. He's locked up for the next 4 or 5 years. And he's 20, if I had to guess, 22, 23, something like that. Evan Mobley, you just drafted him. You got at least another 7 years of him at the very least. I don't want to – I understand how this may sound, you know, but I don't mean it like the draft is important or whatever. But when you got – who needs the draft picks? Like, why would you be stressing off the draft picks when you have those guys? And you're not even not having draft picks every year. Half of those times you're going to be pick swaps. You're still going to be able to draft guys and add new guys to your roster. It's a no-brainer to me. If they're asking for 4 first-rounders and, what was it, 2 or 3 other pick swaps?
2 pick swaps, yeah.
And it doesn't even start for another 2 years. You still got time to or 1 year, 1 draft. So you still got time in this 2023 draft to add somebody as well. So, yeah, no-brainer for Cleveland.
Shout out to the folks at Spot Track who've already updated the logos on Donovan Mitchell's page. He's owed 30 this year, 32.6 next year, 34.8 the year after. That's the 24-25 season. In the 25-26 season, he has a player option for $37 million. So 3 years guaranteed with Cleveland, potentially 4, and certainly room to negotiate a long-term contract extension if this works out well for the Cleveland Cavaliers with Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen looking as the potential starting lineup for that Cleveland Cavaliers team. If it works out long-term, perhaps Cleveland's got something cooking for the first time without LeBron James in a very, very long time.
Man, what was the last time that happened? Was it Terrell Brandon and Bobby Sura? I feel like that might have been in 97, 98.
My goodness. You're just
Terrell.
Why do you know that? Like, why does that occupy space in your brain?
Well, then they got Sean Kemp. Remember they got Sean Kemp?
I do remember that. I mean, who could forget that?
So we talking 97 or non-LeBron. We talking 97. Man. Terrell Brandon, Bobby Sura. If you don't consider that one, you're going back into the 80s and early 90s with Brad Daugherty, Craig Elo, and Mark Price. It's been that long without LeBron.
And it's not like me far more than you. It's not to knock what they did last year. I have great respect for what they did last year. But they ultimately fell short of the playoffs. Like, it was a 44-win team. But they ultimately, man, I've got to see this. 44-38. The year prior, it was 22-50. 19-46, 19-63, and then you've got some LeBron years here And then prior to LeBron coming back, 33 wins, 24 wins, 21 wins, 19 wins. And you've got the LeBron seasons. Okay, here we go. Wow. Why do you know this stuff?
Terrell Brandon was the truth.
Why do you know 1997? They were 47-35. That's the last time a Cleveland Cavaliers team without LeBron James was a playoff team.
Wesley Person was on that squad. That's crazy. Because they called his brother Chuck the Rifleman. I think they called him Little Rifle or something like that. Yeah. Wesley Person, Scotty Brooks, Tony Dumas. I remember him when he was with Phoenix. Ilgauskas' rookie year. Sean Kemp.
That's
Carl Thomas was on that.
Yeah, I love that you're leaving out. Freaking Mike Fratello was the coach.
The czar.
My God, man. My goodness.
They had Derek Anderson on that team from Kentucky. I thought Derek Anderson was going to be nice.
I'm marveling at the fact Cleveland was a sneaky good team for like a decade.
What you talking like? Probably like 87,
87 with a one season exception from 87 to 97. That was a good ball club. They fell off, and then the king arrives and kind of comes and goes, and so does their record based on whether LeBron is there or not.
Yeah. Nah, Cleveland, they got a little lineage, man. Like I said, for a long time.
Do.
I think it was two.
They got a lineage. Imagine one of your best players being a guy who hates basketball. That's Brad Daugherty for those who don't know.
Brad Daugherty said, "I'm out of here. Let me go do this NASCAR.
I'm gonna go do NASCAR."
Yeah. But I mean, they're like in those late 80s, early 90s. I think they lost to Michael Jordan like 3 times in the playoffs with Mark Price, Craig Elo, and Hot Rod Williams. I think Larry Nance, Brad Daugherty. They had some good teams. Gwitty Cube has how old are you? I'm 39, Gwitty. 39.
I am none of your damn business, Gwitty. How old am I? What year is it? I think I just turned 42. I did.
Oh,
yeah.
Young and spry, man. Young and spry.
Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm back at cryotherapy, baby. I'm good.
How did that go?
I saw you Saturday or Sunday. I saw you Sunday. I went Sunday. I went back yesterday. Yeah, it went great. It went great. I love the way I feel when I get out of there.
I think
I just walk up to the thing and, hey, Alexa, play Michael Jackson Rock with You. Song starts, open the door, close it, walk into the second door. As the song starts to fade, that's when I'm walking out.
There you go.
The endorphins really hit. Like when you step out, there is very much a woo. There's a feeling when you get out, and it wears off kind of quick. But I love the feeling of cryotherapy. It's amazing.
See, I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna need it too because I've decided to. I gotta put this Peloton to more use than what I do. So I got my streak going.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? And Jess King's her little pregnant self was whooping my ass. She's pregnant and she just motoring on there talking about, oh yeah, turn it up to 50. What? Jess, no.
Hey, do what she says.
I do.
Come on, man. We got. I've already planned next year's vacation, so I got a year. To get myself back to the game fit, to the game fit look that I flossed on Instagram.
Yeah, that was when you did that. It was big time.
I busted my ass for that. So I got to get back. I look at that. I was looking at that the other day, like loser. Like, what are you doing? Like get back to work. I got a year.
Period. I never even been to Game Fit. Lim, shout out Lim, the whole crew.
Gotta do that.
Site over there.
Got to choose your time wisely, boy. I tell you, you get there at the wrong time. You get there early on them Friday mornings. And women in there will whoop your ass. Like he's got that is one of the most Game Fit is one of the most elite training facilities in this city, man. That's for sure.
Big ups.
Matt George is going to join us in a couple of minutes, and we'll talk more about Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers and the impact on the Sacramento Kings. Because Utah, girl, bye. We got some things to talk about as this Western Conference shakes out here. I do want to talk about Russell Wilson for a couple of minutes before Matt George joins us. Russell Wilson signed with the Denver Broncos. Not really major news. It's always Sherlock Holmes work to try to figure out what exactly the contract is. It's being reported as $165 million guaranteed. So I think that the telling story right out the gate is it's not a Deshaun Watson contract. Like you've got to decipher a little bit here. Okay, what's the deal? $250 million. All right, cool. What's the real deal? Well, it's $165 million guaranteed. There's no deciphering with Deshaun Watson. Right. Deshaun Watson was offered, what was it, 230 or 250 or whatever the exact number was. He's getting that's what he's getting. There is no breaking down that contract into wondering what's real. He's getting all of that. And every time that happens, it's happened with Kirk Cousins too, where is this going to shift the way contracts are done in the NFL? And the emphatic answer appears to be no. It's not. And I kept like, why wouldn't a player fight more for this? Because I can't help but think about Lamar Jackson. I think there's a variety of reasons that Lamar Jackson doesn't have a contract extension. But, reports choose, I'm relaying information, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that he wants a fully guaranteed deal. He wants something, like Deshaun Watson got. And I was like, why wouldn't more players fight for this? Mm-hmm. A dude who hadn't played in a year, who's been suspended for 11 games, was able to pull the richest contract in NFL history.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson couldn't. You couldn't sign Russell Wilson for 3 years and 120 guaranteed. I don't know. I don't know if this is agents working, players accepting, or a player or agent's inability or unwillingness to push this forward.
And it really is interesting because you feel like a Russell Wilson, a Lamar Jackson, they've got all the juice. Russell Wilson specifically, hey, I need a contract extension. I need it all guaranteed. Nah, we don't want to do that. Yeah. All right, I'm not playing.
You already traded for me. You already gave up multiple first-round picks. I'm here. Let's do this right.
Right. You say no. Okay, I'm not playing. It's just it's as simple as that.
But that's the weird part. He still got paid.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like he got a bad deal. Mm-hmm. I think he got. I don't think his contract is the richest. I think it's the second to at least the way it's broken down to Aaron Rodgers. That the average annual value of the contract. I think he's second to Aaron Rodgers. It's not like it's not like, oh my gosh, the Patrick Mahomes contract was suspect from jump. Like that joint's going to have to be renegotiated here in like a year or two. But like, there's nothing wrong with this contract at all. It's just, I guess this is the way the NFL is going to keep working. They're going to tell you players are signing $250 million deals when they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. They're not. Again, they're not broke. They could keep their lights on.
Right.
But the NFL is portraying something that's absolutely fake.
That's what they've been doing for a minute. And when you talk about the contract with Russell Wilson, I mean, I would, if I was him, I'd really go for the gusto. Like you said, you already traded me, but also on top of that, I've already been paid before. Like I can afford to sit out a little bit. Lamar Jackson, he may be a little different. Like he hadn't got the big contract yet, but it's just, I'm assuming it's just the nature of the NFL and the players in the NFL, just not to hold out. Like it just doesn't seem like they do that. And especially the quarterbacks. Then it doesn't seem like, because you could hold the franchise for ransom if you're one of these quarterbacks. Especially with like how many good ones there really are out there. There's less than 32. So chances are your backup isn't that good. Go ahead, run out there with him. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me know how that works.
NFL, we've said this. We won't have to say it again for like another 9 years, 8 years. The players, the NFL players, there's an NFL players union or an NFL players association, but they out for themselves. The fact, one, that you sign a 10-year collective bargaining agreement and you don't push forward this effort to have guaranteed contracts is crazy to me. To me, it's simple. The NFL loves doing this. Remember when people were convinced Amari Cooper made $100 million? Like, bro, that dude made 20 with a series of options, and I think the Cowboys kept one of the options before going, nah, we good. You can go. But they put they get these contracts out there, and it tells this story that's not real. And I don't know why NFL players don't fight harder for it. But again, I guess it boils simply down to this. Russell Wilson can keep the lights on with $165 million. It's not like the $250 million isn't real. Right. The $165 million is very, very real.
Yeah, for sure.
Donovan Mitchell is a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers, another team that made the playoffs last year in the Western Conference, appears to be out of the conversation this year. We'll talk NBA and we'll talk Kings basketball when Matt George, host of the Locked On Kings podcast, joins D'Lo and KC. Brought to you by McQueen and the Violet Fog, the smoothest gin in the world, handcrafted in Brazil, here on ESPN 1320. Hey, Rich, can I point something out here? Anyone who read the details of Patrick Mahomes' contract did not freak out. Everyone who read the details of Patrick Mahomes looked at it the same way I did, with extreme bewilderment. Like, this might be the most reasonable contract in NFL history, but everybody was out there screaming 10 years, $500 million. And anyone who took 5 minutes to read knew, oh no, this isn't real. This contract, and I don't remember what he signed his contract like 2 years ago. I don't think it's this next offseason, but he's going to get a contract renegotiation in like the next 2 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, I want to read you guys some real quick because I thought.
Oh, for goodness sakes!
Hold on one second. We got him tucked away. Matt Miller, he goes, downloaded Madden 23. Started a franchise with the Seahawks, simulated first season. Then I drafted Bryce Young, won the Super Bowl in year 2. So somebody responds to go, classic scouting stats and jersey and not player. Dude, it's too small to be an elite prospect. Classic media overhype. Can't wait until he falls when actual GMs look at him. And Miller just goes, bro, it's just Madden. Relax. It's just Madden.
All right, get a load of this guy. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh wow. We don't need to do this.
Hey, you styling.
Buddy, we don't need to do this, Matt.
I've been taking notes, Chima. I'm coming for Chima's style. Chima look good. Deuce is a hater.
He kind of styling right now. I got to give it to him. The shades, he got the headband. He tied the tie around. He's showing, a little taco meat, a little chest hair. That's what you got on me.
That's not taco meat. That's Sasquatch.
That's what you do nowadays. That's what you do.
Hey, excuse me. I am not. I have no issues with the low button shirts. We got to groom or something.
I expect my apology from Deuce Mason in writing. In writing, Deuce. Chima and Maneke looked phenomenal. They all looked good, but Chima looked great.
I need to know, did you tie your tie around your head? Is that what you did?
Maybe. Do I look like I have a headband anywhere remotely near me?
You're the best, man. I love this. You look fantastic.
It's blue too, just like Chima's.
You look great. Hey, Chima look fantastic.
Thank you.
I said it. I'm rocking the headband at some point this year.
No, you didn't speak up when they started throwing slander at Chima. You didn't speak up.
No, what are you talking about? I said it while they were here. I said that's a good look. I'm rocking a headband this year.
Yeah, he looked great. They all look great. He looked great. Keegan Murray dressed to his personality. He looked like he just walked out of a gym and just put on whatever he had and went to the concert.
Probably did.
Yeah, Keegan, he not that's not his bag. You know, it's not his bag. It's cool. This is not his bag.
I bet Keegan has really good golf style because he's a golfer. I bet he has really good golf style. I got to see some of his golf get up.
Yeah.
But Deuce did this. Deuce is responsible for this. This is the full show now.
I'm with it. Hey, you know the rules. If you like it, rock it. Everyone else will learn to love it.
I still think I need a little help from Chima, though.
You look great, man. I strongly would appreciate if you stayed that way the entire show. I would actually appreciate it even more if you did your hit on ABC 10 like that.
That probably would be the last hit you ever see me on, but it's been a good run.
No, we don't want to go that far. we won't go that far. You're doing too good of a job over there.
I'll go to the high school football games tonight looking like this. How about that?
What game are you going to tonight?
Going to Natomas. I'll go to that, be there for the first half. Natomas versus Rosemont, and then I'll be heading over at halftime to Granite Bay versus Vista del Lago.
Oh, Vista, that damn college campus they have there. That is an unbelievable high school campus.
Hang on, guys. We're definitely live on the Odyssey app. We're live on 1320 AM. We're live as the Real 98 Rock on 98.5 FM HD2. But I strongly encourage you to check us out on twitch.tv/ESPN1320 or youtube.com/ESPN1320 as the very stylish Matt George, host of the Locked On Kings podcast. And he just I gotta give it to him.
He's looking fresh.
No, he just keeps unbuttoning buttons on his shirt, though. That's like every time I say his name, another button like goes flying.
Nah, bro, it's 2022. The chest hair is that's hot right now. That's hot right now, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It is. It is.
I ask myself.
By the end of the show, he's going to be shirtless.
I mean, if it's what Chima would do, I ask myself every morning, what would Chima do? This is what Chima would do.
Just for those listening on 1320 AM, Matt George tweeted about Chime Monecki's style at the Kendrick Lamar concert when he was out with Keegan, De'Aaron, and I'm missing someone. I feel like there were 4 people in the picture.
And Keon was there too.
Oh, Keon. Okay, thank you. Keon Ellis was there. Chime had I think he had a sweatsuit on it. There were reports it was just a black sweatsuit.
No, he had a black button. He had a black button down. I can't say the pants, but he had a black button down on. He had it unbuttoned. He had a nice chain or some kind of necklace, and then he had the headband with his good-looking glass. He just looked good. All right. So I aspire to look like Chima Monecki.
So Matt George quote tweeted the Kings with that picture and said, "I'm going to take style tips from Chime Monecki." Deuce Mason brought that to our attention earlier on the live stream. Matt was obviously around for that, so he has joined us here with his. At work, by the way, he is at work dressed like this with his dress shirt. At this point, I believe it is completely unbuttoned. He has a pair of sunglasses on. And because I guess he didn't have his Chime Monecki headband around, he tied his tie around his head. Mm-hmm. So, and then he's got the IFB sticking out of his ear, which is a nice touch.
You missed the most important part. You missed Chima responding to the tweet saying he's got me. So Chima's my man now.
Oh, you in there.
And Chima, I want Chima to start. Chima should be a starter.
We can screenshot this and shoot this to Chima, or we could even just send him the whole video and say, "Hey, Brody, this is what you're working with."
Yeah.
And I'll get blocked.
Let's start with this, Matt. Donovan Mitchell is now a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You get that Woj bomb. Your first thoughts were what?
Wow. I think everybody else was wow. And then how many picks were involved? Because it took Woj way too long to give us the actual rundown of picks. Because I was like, I want to know what happens when the Utah Jazz are using the Cleveland 2046 pick to pick some player that's still involved in this deal. I think Utah honestly maybe could have gotten more. I'm not sure. Like I haven't completely broken down the deal, but I've always been high on Donovan, though. Like I'm a big fan of Donovan Mitchell. I think he instantly vaults Cleveland into the top 4, top 5 in the West or Eastern Conference conversation. I don't put them as a favorite to come out of the East in the NBA Finals. I still put Boston and Philly and Brooklyn ahead of them, probably, assuming Brooklyn can stay healthy and actually want to play basketball this year. But I mean, I really like that squad. Every single year, I pick a Eastern Conference team that I root for and that I follow closely, and they usually are my league pass team. Last year was the Chicago Bulls. This year it's got to be Cleveland. And then I'll say this too. I'm also going to watch a lot of Indiana Pacers for obvious reasons.
Oh, of course, the whole world is. The whole damn world is. So, I mean, I'll watch some Pacers too. I'm gonna tell you this: when they're 20 and 55, I'm not watching the Pacers no more. Okay, when they're one of the worst teams in basketball, that's it. I ain't watching.
I'm amazed you're giving them 20.
No, there's that too. I mean, 20. Tyrese won 20 by himself. So
yeah, that's true.
We already know that he needs a supporting cast. But you said that you thought they could have gotten more. I mean, they got essentially what, 7 picks. I mean, I'm including the pick swaps there, but they got 4 just straight picks from Cleveland, including the pick this year and the 2022 pick. And then 2 pick swaps. So they got 6.
I think it's 2 pick swaps. Yeah.
So they got 6 first round picks essentially out of this. You think they could have got more? Do you mean like more as far as like established NBA players or what more?
That's where it's at. I think I was a little underwhelmed by the current talent, and I'm aware that you pull off this trade to basically stock up like your Sam Presti with draft picks. I know that's what they're doing, so we're not going to be able to really grade this trade until like 2-3 years minimum down the road. But I actually like Sexton. Like I think Colin Sexton kind of got a little bit of a bad rap in Cleveland a little bit, but like I think Donovan Mitchell is a very impactful player who kind of got lost behind all the drama and everything that was going on in Utah. I know his stock kind of dropped a little bit with how he performed in the playoffs this year. And a lot of people think he was more of a product of his environment in Utah. I disagree. I think Donovan Mitchell is a really, really, really damn good basketball player, really gifted offensive player who could be better defensively. I think he immediately makes the Cleveland Cavaliers significantly better. I know typically in star trades, you're never going to get value for value immediately across the board. But I mean, it's clear Utah is completely blowing things up. So I guess this is the best that maybe most could expect. But I was just a little underwhelmed by the actual player for player return a little bit. But it's probably because I'm a little too high on Donovan.
It's probably by design too. Like I think Colin Sexton, they're willing to give a shot, and they're doing that because you've got to put someone on the court, for goodness sakes, and you're doing it at a relatively. I mean, it's a 72-4, I think, were the numbers. That's reasonable for a guy who I thought played, pretty well prior to Darius Garland's arrival. And then, things shifted a little bit. The rest of it is take the names out. What matters are the contracts. Take the rest out, add the dollars together. And that's probably why those deals were done. But let me welcome you to the Cleveland Cavaliers bandwagon. I think we're going to have a fun time watching them this season. But you talk about Utah being, kind of in a full tank mode. Danny Ainge believing he could rebuild this thing. And I believe Danny Ainge probably believes he could rebuild this thing in Utah pretty quickly. But you got Utah and you got San Antonio. You got 2 teams that finished in the top 10 last year on their way out. What's that mean for Sacramento?
Oh, thank you, D'Lo. Let's do what we do best and take nothing that has absolutely nothing to do with the Sacramento Kings and make it about the Sacramento Kings.
What we do, baby.
I love that skill set that we possess, this curse that we possess. And I talked about this on the Locked On Kings podcast today. And I even tweeted this out. And I know I've said this before on the show, but it's even more so now. You would think someone who has watched the Sacramento Kings every single season for the last 16 seasons, you would think someone who's covered this team professionally for the last 7 seasons, that I would be able to fathom the idea of the Kings somehow failing again. Genuinely, I cannot comprehend the idea that the Sacramento Kings cannot be at minimum 10th best in the Western Conference. That is such a pathetically freaking low bar with this roster. you have to be better than one team that's not the 4 teams that are outright tanking. I don't care if it's Portland. I don't care if it's New Orleans. I don't care if it's LA, the Lakers. I don't know. I don't know who that team's going to be. Beat one freaking team. 10th best. You have to be better than just 5 teams in your conference, not in the NBA, in your conference. Like, it's not a hard bar. So, like, and if they miss out, you said heads will roll earlier, Kenny. It's the exact same words that I used on the podcast today. Like, I cannot fathom what our conversations are like, what the media coverage is like, what is happening in the Kings organization if we get to February, March, and it's clear that the Sacramento Kings are out of the race. Again, barring any kind of, knock on wood, any kind of catastrophic injury situation. Like, that's a completely different circumstance, and you can never map those out. If the Kings are, for the most part, healthy, it is a De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis-led team with all this depth that Monte McNair has added. If this team is incapable of being 10th freaking best, 10th best in the Western Conference, I don't know what the hell I'll do. Like, I don't know where you go from there at that point. If you can't build a roster that is that mediocre, then maybe the Kings are truly cursed at that point.
It would be a complete embarrassment, Matt. Let's talk about it how we talking about it here. It would be an embarrassment if this particular roster wasn't able to get it done. And I've heard people say, and this is, I don't know where it stems from as far as Monte McNair not having an extension, but I mean, this would be a bit of a litmus test for the Kings if they were trying to bring him back. Monty, you can't get this done, then we gotta move on. We gotta move on, because this is, I said it earlier, this is as good of an opportunity to get in the postseason as this team has had in the last 16 years. Roster and the setup of the entire conference. This is as good as it's gotten.
Yes, where I want to push back is, you're right. Like, at that point, Monty's out of a job, and everybody's on the table at that point, and everybody's up for blame. Mike Brown, you just signed him to, what was it, a 4-year contract or something like that. Mike Brown's certainly under some heat at that point, although I hope the Kings wouldn't be stupid enough to fire him after 1 year and be paying another head coach for the next 3 years. But like, at that point, you have to look at this roster. You have to look at every single player on this roster, especially the bigger names on this roster. And I don't need to name any names, and it's not just the 2 obvious ones. It's everybody. You have to look at this roster and go, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, at some point, like, Monty has built a team that by all belief across the league makes sense. No one's looking at this roster and going, man, this team is an absolute bona fide certified playoff team. Like, no one's saying that. But looking at this roster, I guarantee you 99% of the league is looking at this going, this team is capable of being a play-in team. Like, if you can't accomplish that, I have a hard time how do I put that on Monty? How do I put that on Mike Brown? Like, I got to put that on the guys who are supposed to go out there and play the game. That are like, this team, in my opinion, in the Western Conference, this team could have the most basic playbook on the planet, which is kind of one of the things that Dave Yeager was saying during his time here. They could have the most basic playbook on the planet. The talent of this team and the, in theory, system that this team can easily run, fast pace, attacking the basket, surrounding with shooters, pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis. Like, pickup wise, this team has enough talent to be 10th best in the Western Conference. If you can't accomplish that, like, everybody is accountable for that at this point.
Absolutely. Those players will be gone. But to be fair, and I don't want it to be the case, I'm not saying it will be, but Monte McNair, this is 2 different sets of players that you've picked, that have, maybe even 3 that you've picked that can't get it done. So while it's not your fault because you're not out there on the court, you keep picking these guys that can't get the job done. So we need to find somebody else.
Matt doesn't think Monty's going to be the GM, though. See, him and Jason Jones had a little conspiracy theory in a recent episode of the Locked On Kings podcast, where I was like, hey, I've got some Locked On episodes. I got 2 Locked On episodes to catch up on. I like to walk Sprout and just relax, enjoy the early morning, and on comes Jason Jones, and here comes this thing about Wes Wilcox and Mike Brown, and I'm like, hey, what the hell is going on here? And now, to be fair, for those who haven't listened, Jason was like, listen, this is what you hear rumblings. It's not something you're outwardly, hey, this is what's happening in Sacramento. You hear rumblings because people are trying to figure out what's going on with Monty McNair, why he hasn't signed a contract extension. Plus, you could say Vivek Ranadive is getting advice from aliens in outer space and float that around NBA circles, and someone would believe it.
And absolutely report it.
Hey, we did our best to try and be, honestly, the conversation started out really positive. I actually had to change the order of the conversation because when I asked him about, and he went off on that conspiracy theory, that was like 2/3 of the way through the interview. I was like, well, this is going to be the meat and potatoes of it. I have to start with it. But we were talking about, like, Jason was also hyping up this roster too. He thinks this roster is going to be, is the best that they've had during the 16 years. He thinks that Mike Brown is the best head coach that the Sacramento Kings have had since Rick Adelman. Thank you. So, and if Jason's showing some love as Sacramento Kings fans, like, Jason doesn't hold back. So, but the conspiracy theory absolutely had to make its way out there. So I appreciate Jason for coming on. I love that, man.
I think it's people just trying to figure it out. Like, why hasn't Monty McNair been signed to a contract extension? You've given him the time to, he's obviously, you've given him time to invest. Like this team, like that's his. Mm-hmm. But I guess, I mean, I don't know. I still kind of think one will get done before the season starts, but man, and then there's always was a theory we threw out there however many months ago. Maybe it's not the Kings, maybe it's Monty.
Yeah. I think the marriage for both of them should be, hey, let's work together, let's get this done. But that could absolutely be the case that the Kings wanted to sign him to a contract extension, and he said, I'm not sure I want to be here. I'm not sure I want to continue doing this. Let me figure this out with myself and my family and see if this is what we still want to do. And they've got the Kings in limbo. That is a possibility as well.
I just don't know. We've talked about this too. Whether it's Monty, whether it's Mike Brown, whether it's roster, I don't know where the Sacramento Kings can possibly go with this roster if it doesn't work out. Like, I'm even disappointed by them making, and we've talked about this before, if they make the play-in 10th seed, 9th seed, 8th, 7th, doesn't matter. If they make the play-in, especially if they have a home game and they lose 2 in a row and they actually don't make the playoffs, yeah, I'm disappointed by that too, because play-in, even though it's technically postseason, it's not playoffs, and playoffs are the goal that I need, and playoffs are also the goal that Monty has said repeatedly, and the Kings front office has said repeatedly, and we know the players come media day are going to say repeatedly. So that's the standard that I'm holding this team to. But bar minimum, this is a play-in team. Like, the play-in is made for opportunity like this, even if the Western Conference is stacked. And you look at the Sacramento Kings roster, and again, I could be foolish after all the years that I've covered this team, and I maybe should know better. But if we get to the end of the year and Sacramento's on the outside looking in again, I at that point, I'm turning my camera on and just staring at the camera and popping a mic open saying I have no idea what to say at this point because I don't know where the Kings go.
Well, as long as you do it with a tie tied around your head and your sunglasses on, it'll be worth watching.
That might be all I have left.
We're such a joke. Did you see Field Yates's tweet?
Yeah, and I've been debating whether or not to respond to that.
I just saw this is my first. This was tweeted 2 hours ago. Field Yates, the NFL reporter, he wrote an updated NBA draft order for each of the next 5 years. 1, Thunder. 2, Jazz. 3, Thunder. Then it goes Jazz, Thunder, Jazz, Kings, Jazz, Thunder, Jazz.
We're in there, baby.
I don't think that's a good thing, Matthew.
No, not a good thing at all. But, these are the things that we talk about where, hey, man, as long as you continue not to win, they're going to, you're going to be the butt of the joke. That's just when you win, then you can
NFL reporters.
Low-hanging fruit.
What is happening? Yeah, that's 100% right, man. It's low-hanging fruit. I'm looking at the quote. I'm hoping he got eviscerated, but
I'm choosing to ride with those who are finally coming around. Like you have, of course, Mark Spears, who said on TV multiple times he believes the Kings are breaking the streak. I think Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix has said he's jumping on the Kings bandwagon. So those are the people I'm riding with. I'm with them. I like them. And if they're wrong, they're idiots, not me this time.
Boy, riding with Chris Mannix, that's a tough trip right there, buddy.
This particular version of Chris Mannix on this very specific incident and moment in time. It's a short ride.
That's Kenny's guy. You could bring him with you.
No. I'll get my own ride. How about that? I'll get my own ride. I don't need to be in that minivan.
I'll bring you into, and I'm sure you were listening to a conversation with Deuce Mo. Where are you on Portland? Because if the Lakers, because there's two spots, there's clearly two spots. San Antonio's done, Utah's done. People say, well, the Lakers are getting one of those spots, and I get that. The Lakers were a mess last year, but they were also bad. Like, so both things can be true. But fine, we'll give them a spot. It really boils down to, because you don't have anything left except Oklahoma City and Houston. It really boils down to Sacramento and Portland. Where are you on Portland?
When comparing the two teams, Portland has the clear, no doubt star, right? The best player, that's easy. That's not up for debate. It's Damian Lillard. But the Sacramento Kings have a better team. They're a more well-constructed team. They're more of a win-now team. Like, the Sacramento Kings, in my opinion, should absolutely be better than the Portland Trailblazers this year. And I give Dame his credit. I give him his circumstances. There are going to be games where Dame quite literally puts everything on his back and wins it for him. And hell, maybe a game or two like that might be against the Sacramento Kings this year. I sure as hell hope not. I expect opening night, Kings and Portland Trailblazers, I expect Kings to show why they're a little bit different. Like, especially with the Kings, or in the necessity, in my opinion, for the Kings to get off to a good start this year. Like, the Portland Trailblazers are trending down. Like, the Sacramento Kings are trending up, and that should show itself both in the standings, and that should show itself on the floor where we watch those two teams. And my podcast today, I looked at the Kings bench, and I compared the Kings bench to every other bench. I took the five, basically Kings depth chart. I took the 5 bench players at each position, even though I think the Kings are going to have a 9-man rotation, wrote down their numbers, and I compared them to every single squad, every single other team, and their bench 5 players and their numbers and eye test and things like that in the league. And I basically decided which were better and which were worse than the Sacramento Kings, starters wise and bench wise. And bench wise, between the Kings and Blazers, it's not even close. Like, I think the Kings bench is significantly better than the Blazers bench. And starters wise, with the exception of Damian Lillard, like, I think the Kings have a significantly well-rounded lineup, better depth. Like, to me, basketball wise, as good as Dame time is, and as much as I love watching him play, I think the Kings should separate themselves pretty quickly.
Yeah, I look at that Portland Trailblazers team, and they're not awful or anything like that. I mean, they've got players that I like on there, but if I had to choose who do I think is going to have the better season and who has the better team, right now I'd say it's the Sacramento Kings. And I agree with you, Matt, where the depth is something that makes me feel that way. But I also just wonder how granted, I'm not following Portland and what they do, but how does that team mesh together? Like, how do they work together? They've got individual players that I like, with, like I said, Dame and Grant and Anthony Simons and Nurkic. Like, I like those guys. Obviously, I like Shaedon Sharpe, whatever he's able to give them in his rookie year. But how do they mesh together? Is that something that works together on the court? I don't know. We don't know about the Kings, but I feel like the pieces fit a little bit better, just looking at things on paper.
Well, the way I look at it too is, if the Kings are worried about the Portland Trailblazers, then we're in trouble. Like, that's what I'm looking at it. Like, I think it's realistic to say the Kings and Blazers might end up battling for the 10th spot, but I also think the Sacramento Kings should be battling for 7 and 8. Like, I don't think that's unrealistic for this group. So if they're worried about the Trailblazers and the Trailblazers alone, and not even thinking about being on the tier of maybe the Pelicans, I don't know, maybe the Timberwolves, maybe the Lakers. Like, if they're not worried about being on that tier, then what the hell are we talking about? We're talking about a team that's just scratching and clawing their way into the play-in, and that no one expects to win 2 games to actually get to the playoffs themselves, which, again, that's the goal of the team. That's the goal. That's the standard that I'm setting. Even though they haven't made it in 16 years, I'm not saying that the Kings should automatically be vaulted into the playoffs just because this roster has been improved. They got to earn it. They got to prove it to themselves. They got to prove it to us. They got to prove it to the rest of the NBA, or those jokes aren't going to stop, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, if you're worried about your biggest competition, one team, for the bare minimum 10th spot, you're not a playoff team. Like, you're not a team that belongs in any kind of playoff picture or playoff conversation. The Sacramento Kings are better than that. They need to shoot higher than that. So it's something that we can talk about, but I don't want to hear any concern, even if there's respect for Dame, even if there's respect for Shaedon Sharpe. And I'm excited to see how Shaedon looks because we still haven't seen him. Like, and maybe they are better than I'm giving them credit for right now. And if so, I'll happily raise my hand and say, man, I disrespected the Portland Trailblazers. But the Sacramento Kings right now can't be worried about Trailblazers or any one team that could be the team to knock them out of the freaking play-in tournament. That shouldn't even be in their mindset.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at Portland because I agree with both of your assessments, and you said they're trending down, which I agree with, but they're not trending down from where they were last year,
right?
Because last year is an anomaly. So if they're trending down from a 45, 46 win team, like how far down are they going? Because, we did this with the Lakers as it pertains to LeBron and Anthony Davis. Like, it's a different team if Dame Lillard is playing. You've added Jeremy Grant. That's an interesting situation because he's only there. He could only be there till February if this thing doesn't go well, but he's there for this year. It's not they brought in Gary Payton. It's not, I didn't get the Yusuf Nurkic. I don't know why they did that, but not that Yerk is a bad ball. I just don't get it. I agree they're trending down, but I wonder if they're trending down to where now it's the Portland Trailblazers that aren't a 5 or 6 or 7 team anymore. They're a 10. That's what they are. They're in that category, but I agree with you. The Kings have to be, we can't be headed into the final week of the season going, okay, they got to go 3-1 to get the 10th spot. that either means the Western Conference was an animal or things didn't go well.
Regardless of the expectations, regardless of how the West does, like the Kings have to be different. Like to me, they just have to have a different mindset, have a different approach. They can't afford to wait. Now, maybe like things happen and it ends up being you have to win 3 out of your final 4 games to secure it. Like, things happen all the time, things that you can't control. But my point is, I don't want the Kings at any point this season to be reliant upon other teams winning or losing for them to secure their spot. Unless it's like, wow, we have a chance to get 6 if the Memphis Grizzlies completely collapse. Like that's a different conversation.
Sure. I got
completely. You. But if the Sacramento Kings are like, man, we need the schedule to, like, we dropped too many games early on to now we need to rely on Portland falling apart, or we need to hope that the Houston Rockets somehow beat the Los Angeles Lakers in March. Like, then at that point, we're in the same damn boat and it's already a failure, in my opinion.
Let me ask you the question I've asked everybody else today about this roster, about this Kings roster. Barring some type of all-star, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant being available, do you think this roster is about done? Like, should they be looking to make more moves? Should they be looking? I mentioned earlier some of the guys on Utah, like Bojan, Jordan Clarkson, all those guys. I like those guys as individual players, but they seem a little repetitive to what the Kings already have. Do you think they should be looking to make any other moves anywhere?
It's a cliche that Monty uses, although I think it's the correct approach. He's always keeping himself open-minded. He's talked about flexibility. Anytime there's a Monty McNair press conference, the word flexibility comes up. And that's been kind of his MO since the very beginning, right? Whether it's keeping the cap sheet flexible, keeping player availability flexible so that if players become available, he can make those moves. But I look at this roster the way it is right now, and the reason why I think we're set, Kenny, is I look at the pieces on this roster and I go, at this point, who do you move to get better that's realistic? Like, some of the best trade pieces or movable pieces you have on this roster are players that you just acquired, right? Like a Malik Monk, a Kevin Huerter. These are pieces that you just acquired. Of course, Harrison Barnes is the elephant in the room that we've talked about a million times and we'll continue to talk about probably until the trade deadline. But I don't see any trade out there that you move on from Harrison Barnes right now that makes your team better or even stays neutral. I don't think that trade exists. So I don't know. I think at this point, Sacramento is set based off of the fact that they have surrounded it. The belief was always Fox and Sabonis are going to take us as far as we're going to go. We got to surround them with the pieces necessary. They've done that. So sure, there are probably better pieces out there to accomplish that goal a little bit more, but what do you have to acquire with those pieces? And you can't say, well, just throw a bunch of picks out there too, because you have to remember the pick involvement in the Kevin Huerter trade. So Sacramento's already kind of locked up with that a little bit. So as of right now, I think Monty has played his cards. It's not the sexiest hand on the planet. It's not an absolute winning hand, but his offseason should be done. And I think he should feel confident going into training camp and going into next season that he's built the correct squad, and then let the time on the floor play things out. And then as the NBA regular season goes on and players suddenly become available that weren't available before at the trade deadline, that's when you reevaluate. That's when you suddenly say, hey, maybe we're moving on from Barnes, or maybe Malik Monk is playing super, super well, and you move him into the starting lineup, and maybe Kevin Huerter has value at the trade deadline. Like, anything can happen over the course of the season. Maybe Rashawn Holmes plays his way into having value around the league too. I think we need game and regular season narrative and experience and numbers to open up the market again for Sacramento.
I hate that when you said, players that weren't available that might be available now. The first player I thought of was Harrison. Like, you were talking about around the league, and I immediately thought, oh, what if that's Harrison?
Mm-hmm.
And I again, I get it. It's what James Ham fights about when we have this discussion about Harrison Barnes is managing assets. And I completely understand that. But as you just laid out, as Kenny's talked about, I don't know where you improve that position. Like, I don't know where you improve that. If it's not Harrison, who is it? Who gets you bit? I don't think that exists. Realistically, I don't think that it exists. Harrison is a great piece for something. But that something isn't out there. Harrison Barnes is a king. And hey, man, if things work, maybe Harrison, because I feel a lot of the reason Harrison Barnes might not be a king moving forward is because Harrison's like, hey, man, I did my time. I've done my time. Like, I'll continue. I'll fulfill my contractual duties, or you guys do what you got to do. I'm gonna play ball either way, and then I'm gonna go do my thing. Maybe if things work out well, 2-3 more years with Harrison Barnes here, they could change Harrison Barnes' mind.
I think that's the gamble the Kings are willing to take. And look, we don't know Harrison's motivations. Is he money motivated to get one last major bag? If so, I don't blame him. Is he winning motivated after the last 4 years that he's had of his career? Wouldn't blame him at all for that either. But the Kings could potentially offer both. Like, the Kings could be in a position where they can offer him the most money, or they would be willing to pay him more money than his market value is because Sacramento tax. And the Kings could be in a position where they're on the rise and he's an important part of that rise. Like, if the Kings do make the playoffs, 7th, 8th seed, win the play-in, make the playoffs, and the best case scenario I threw out there on Locked on Kings was, let's say it's Kings and Warriors in the opening round of the playoffs, which would be awesome because that's never happened before. Say the Kings at best win 2 of those games, which seems like a reach. Like, let's say the Kings win 1 of those games, but you can see a team that ends the season with momentum, a la what the Phoenix Suns were able to do in the bubble, but different, right? And it's a team that you're going into the offseason going, okay, you accomplished your goal. Now you have to improve, but we're feeling good about it. Like, that sounds like a situation where Harrison Barnes might be significantly more on board than he would be right now when that team hasn't come remotely close to that yet. I think that's a gamble that Monty and the Kings are willing to take, because just like me, I don't think Monty and the Kings at this point can fathom the idea that this team is not playing in postseason of some sort.
Yeah. That, like I said, I know, much like you, Matt, I know every time that we've been excited for a team before, we've seen a lot of losing battles. I get all that.
Yep.
It'd be crazy if they didn't make the play-in. I mean, it would be the new worst year of all time in Sacramento, which was last year. It would be the new one because they have the talent, in my opinion, at least on paper, to get to that point. The West, the way it's set up with potentially 4 teams that are out and then a couple iffy teams, like you can Portland can, get over the Kings. We get all that, but you can absolutely be better than Portland. You can absolutely be better than whoever is 8 or 9 or something like that. If you're playing at a high level, it's all right there for you. Yeah. It's all right there for you. There's no way that after the last game of the regular season, we should be done with Kings basketball.
Real quick, D-Lo, I'm going to take this in another really quick direction, but I want to make sure I use your platform to cut a little babyface promo really quick here.
Oh, Joy.
There's so FIBA action is going on right now. Chimezi Metu, thank you, Brain, is playing for Nigeria. I think he's leading Nigeria in scoring. You have Neemias Queta, of course, Domantas Sabonis, and I haven't really addressed it too much on Locked On Kings or covered it too much on Locked On Kings. I don't know how much coverage you guys have put out there because it felt disingenuous because our guy, Brendan Nunez with King's Pulse has been doing amazing work on covering FIBA. Like I put Brendan up there in his FIBA coverage with like Jill Adge and her front office shirts or search coverage. Like he just goes so in depth. He does breakdowns. I think he and Chris Watkins did like breakdowns of games or rewatch games, and I paid attention to that. So I want to make sure to give him some love a little bit. And if you're looking to follow FIBA stuff, like follow what Brendan is doing over there because he's given me insight. I'm a little disappointed that we haven't really seen the 3-point shot from Sabonis to this point. I'm not too worried about his numbers. I more wanted to see that jumper, and I haven't seen too much of it. But with the FIBA action going on in Kingsland right now, and I know there's always concerns with summer basketball and players getting hurt. Again, knock on wood, but Brendan's doing phenomenal work over there covering FIBA.
Yeah, great stuff from Brendan. Domantas Sabonis isn't unveiling that 3-point shot until October.
He's keeping it under wraps.
That's not for FIBA's consumption. That is for Sacramento. We should probably let you go, get dressed and go to work. All right.
I got one more button.
Please don't lean back any further. I'm begging. Please don't lean back any further. That is Matt George, host of the Locked On Kings podcast, and of course, tremendous work over on ABC 10. We appreciate you, my man. Thank you as always.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
All right, Matt George. Make sure you check out Locked On Kings. And yeah, shout out to Brendan Nunez, who not only Brendan Nunez does a great job covering FIBA, Brendan Nunez does a great job covering the Sacramento Kings. Man.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt, Brendan, just phenomenal reporters here that we have in our space to talk about the Kings. We got caught up. I had a plan today. Got so caught up in the Donovan Mitchell stuff and Serena. Brody, it's Thursday. Some of you woke up to a brand new episode of Corners of the Culture.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all ain't on board yet, man, you gotta go download. You gotta get on this podcast, man. I'm not just saying this because it's our podcast. It's really good. You'll learn something from it. We did an episode on culture pushers. I guarantee you, we talked about some names you've never heard of. We've talked about names who built brands that you are aware of. But we've hit our stride with this podcast, man. Wait till y'all hear next week's. Like, we dive into music, we dive into the culture. It's exactly what it says. Corners of the Culture. Go check it out. You could search Apple, Spotify. You can search Odyssey, wherever you get podcasts from. Corners of the Culture is there. A brand new episode dropped. Every time I check the download stats, this isn't D-Lo and KC, where like you're probably not going to check out the podcast next week of D-Lo and KC because to find out Donovan Mitchell got traded because it's a week old. Corners of the Culture is evergreen. Yeah. Like you can listen to it whenever you want to. You could binge listen to episodes or whatever it may be. I promise you'll if you dig D-Lo and KC, you're really going to dig this podcast. Corners of the Culture, available wherever you get podcasts from. If you're Apple or Spotify, please hit the thumbs up, leave a little review. But I really enjoyed this episode that dropped today.
No, it was a lot of fun, man. It really was. It was a lot of fun. And every week we just keep having more and more fun with this thing, man.
We recorded we recorded last week. I was like, yo, that was one of the best ones. We're like, this was really good. We recorded on Tuesday, finished up our revisiting of the blueprint. I think that was our best episode yet. Like it's a good podcast. It's a really good podcast. We think you'll like it. We also think this is a good radio show. And we hope you enjoy it, man. It's always fun when breaking news comes in, and we'll get to dissect it tomorrow. I've been waiting all week to talk to Kyle Madsen about this 49er news. He'll be with us. James Ham will be with us. We hope that you will as well tomorrow at noon here on ESPN 1320.
Holla.
Everything go okay in there? You haven't seen or heard from Jonathan yet? Yeah. Okay. I know. Is there anything I can do? Okay. I got you. So all right, guys, we're gonna shut down because I've got like 2 minutes to talk to Jesse before he has to kick me off. We appreciate you guys, man. Thank you. I'll work on these. I know people have asked for Corners of the Culture merchandise. I promise I'm going to work on that. Don has been on that too. So appreciate you guys so much, man. We'll see you tomorrow at noon.